Before returning to the college entrance exam, I became popular in the scientific community. Hey, fanfic family! So glad to see you here again to continue this incredible adventure. As always, kindly remember, this story is 100% fiction, so don't go looking for dimensional portals in your closet. All rights to this fantastic novel belong to the original author. We're just your humble narrators of epic tales. Are you enjoying the fanfic? Show it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and dropping us a like. And if you're impatient for more exclusive content, our Patreon is your happy place. Chapter 301 Understanding. But while they're helping, they can't just take advantage of everyone, and they have to make it clear that they're going to face difficulties. This time, they can't shoulder the brunt of the responsibility. A certain C next door, they've gotten the better of them, so let's just rip them off. This time, it's their turn to be jealous of a certain C, and that's a really bad feeling. Why are General Wu and General Lu researching the carrier-based aircraft used by a certain C? They're trying to squeeze in some space, trying to negotiate with the higher-ups, and that doesn't mean they can't continue to support their progress in aerospace research. Although they also know that the leading advantages of the J-20 and H-20 are enough to sustain them for several years, and any more would be a waste of technical resources, but they can't help it. They're always greedy, and they have to take more of the good stuff for themselves. This time, the research and development focus is on carrier-based aircraft. Leader Li, you must shoulder the lion's share of the J-35 development funding. For now, we'll be raising funds based on the H-20 standard. I hope you can shoulder half the burden, and we'll split the remaining half among the three parties. Chu Hengyan set the tone. The Air Force would only be considered a supporting force this time. In other words, if 10 billion yuan in research funding is needed, then the China Southern Airlines would provide 5 billion yuan, and the remaining half would be divided equally among the three parties, with one party contributing approximately 1.7 billion yuan. However, he planned for the Aviation Group and the Research and Development Department to contribute 15%, with the Air Force sponsoring the remaining 10%. The Air Force had its work cut out for them, having launched 2 super fighter jets 2 years in a row. Especially since the Air Force had to cover the production of the H-20 Kunpeng, that was a significant contribution. It was best to take it easy and make things more bearable for them. Of course, he was just using this figure as an example. He thanked Mr. Wu and Mr. Lu for completing thorough preliminary research before embarking on R&D, waiting only for actual experimental verification and implementation. Compared to the previous budgetary expenditures of 20 to 30 billion yuan, which often cost them dearly, they've saved a lot. What used to cost one project now allows them to complete 3 or 5, or even several projects requiring substantial funding. Mr. Wu's team does it all in one go, spending only a small amount on verification experiments, while the rest goes into actual manufacturing. Otherwise, they might have fallen behind Mr. Wu's scientific advancements this year. The country really only has a small spare capacity, not yet affluent. It's heartbreaking to think about it. Across the sea, most people are waving funds, waiting for the favor of those holding the project, while they are mistreating their precious talents, allowing them to prepare detailed research plans and wait for funding, saving as much as possible. It's truly humiliating. There are many people in China who admire foreign things. Many who went abroad on government funds back then are reluctant to return, yearning for the future. In this contrast, their Mr. Wu and Mr. Lu seem even more lovable and respectable. This year, General Wu has achieved one major breakthrough after another. He's set a high bar for research funding. Those who claim large amounts of funding based on vague concepts without a concrete plan will be sidelined. General Wu's projects are either boosting national strength or achieving significant improvements in people's livelihoods. Why aren't they focusing on such achievements? In principle, this is a carrier-based aircraft developed for a certain navy, so it's reasonable for that navy to cover 70% of the costs. However, that navy simply doesn't have that kind of funding. Aircraft carriers are a massive money-sucking machine. The Navy only successfully launched the Ningliao in August, and the subsequent deployment will require gradual deployment before a significant amount of research and production funding can be allocated. It's not easy. Everyone should strive to understand each other and contribute more, all for the greater prosperity and strength of our nation. Okay, give me 2 days. We'll grit our teeth, scrape together the funds, and transfer them. Such dedication is essential for developing a superior carrier-based aircraft and enhancing their strike and deterrence capabilities. Chu Hengin was kind enough not to burden them with excessive responsibility. His ultimate goal was a 70% share. Even half that, a 50% share, he had no hesitation. Expediting the transfer of funds would allow the J-35 project to commence sooner. If General Manager Wu and General Manager Lu could complete the development and flight test in just 6 months, as they had with the H-20, they would have to pay everything they had to get the funds in as soon as possible. We only have 2 days, Commander Chu. We've agreed on a conventional takeoff and landing version. With upgraded and optimized engines, it was clear that a conventional takeoff and landing version would significantly improve the fighter's performance. They absolutely couldn't miss out. You've already paid for the R&D costs. When the production rate comes, you can't make excuses. You'll have to contribute the exact amount you want. Chu Hengin wasn't going to give those who took advantage a chance. The research department wasn't wealthy, and there were countless places to apply for funding. If he hadn't set a benchmark, the funds would have been completely divided up at the beginning of each year, and there wouldn't even be a budget left until now. Furthermore, now that they had President Wu, who was committed to high quality, high output, and high progress, he had to reserve as much capital as possible for President Wu Tong, ready to start anytime, to cover the funding gap for key R&D projects and prevent such cutting-edge research and development from being hindered by funding constraints. One doesn't know how expensive food is until they manage it. It's not easy for him, the leader, to support someone without a surplus. No problem, don't worry. We'll take a break and do everything we can to prepare the production costs, Leader Wu assured, patting his chest. They'd be fools not to invest real money to build on their successful R&D achievements. It's settled then. Within 3 days, the funds will arrive and the project will be immediately launched. President Wu will provide the direction, and President Lu will oversee implementation. We look forward to them creating more miracles. Glory to China. Upon arriving in Shangjing, Wu Tong immediately headed to the research institute. It would be safer to take the materials she brought directly back. Her current project was of paramount importance. Furthermore, the multiple upgrade materials were complex, making it impractical to tackle them all at once. She'd bite off more than she could chew. The institute was already fully staffed, working on 1, 2, or 3 projects simultaneously. And that was based on the assumption that teacher, Tao Ran, and her junior brother Ruan Chengsu could each shoulder key responsibilities, with her providing overall oversight. Any more expansion would be too much for her to handle alone, and she would be overwhelmed. The team was also too dispersed, hindering the smooth running of the experiments. She was the one who led the team, working on 2 materials at a time, achieving a more precise result in 1 step. Wu Tong would rather spend 2 extra days than compromise on the material parameters. Continuous improvement has always been Wu Tong's motto. Wu Tong then arranged the order in which the materials would be assembled, and the experimental procedures were streamlined. By the time she finished these chores, dusk had already fallen. Chapter 302 Responsibility. Without further delay, Wu Tong locked all the important documents on the desk in a special confidential document cabinet, got up and went downstairs to go home. She had been away for more than half a month. She missed her family, and her family missed her too. When you are alone in a foreign land, you miss your family all the more. Although she was not alone in a foreign land, her feelings of missing her family were the same. As soon as the sound of someone entering the entrance sounded, the family couldn't help but stand up. Wu Jingzhong and Jin Yuan went straight to the entrance to greet them. When Wu Tong came back, she called them to inform them. The two did not delay much after get off work and went home early to wait for the children to come home. Tong, you are finally home. Is everything going well? Wu Tong nodded. Everything went well. I have been at the institute the whole time. I even saw my brother. It was not convenient to contact her family inside the institute. She did not explain it in detail at the time, and now she could simply point out her meeting with Jin Xin. Xingxin is here too. It's great that you can meet each other. Grandma Jin smiled. There are only these 2 children in the family. It's great that they can work together and take care of each other. Their older generation will eventually pass away, and it will still be up to them, the brothers and sisters, to support each other. Both children are Cheng Yuandas, and they will not let their attachment to them drag down their children. My brother and I went to Dayan Pagoda to eat Danglation, but we still think that Shengjing is more delicious. Let's make an appointment then. It is not convenient to say more about the research, But it does not affect Wu Tong's conversation about some family matters that his family members are more at ease with. There's a lot of Chang'an-style attractions, like the Tang Dynasty city that never sleeps, the old city walls, the big wild goose pagoda, the snack streets, and even further afield, the Terracotta Army and Huiking Hot Spring. There's plenty to explore and see. When you have a break, you can go and explore together. It's not too far. When I'm on a business trip, I'll be the pioneer. If I find a good place, I'll recommend it to you. You can take the time to explore, okay? Then we'll all wait for Tong to discover some great places and teach us about them. The family was harmonious and happy. Wu Tong had already explained to her family that she would continue to monitor the progress of her project at Peking University and might not be home every day, so they could rest assured. For the family, Wu Tong was at Peking University, working on projects and research, all of which were important tasks. They could see their child every now and then, feeling relieved and fully supportive. Tong, everything's fine at home. Don't worry too much. Let's rest up when we have time. Don't worry too much about home. Even if home was closer, it wouldn't be as close as Tong's current lounge at school. Rather than their children missing them and coming back for more frequent visits, they would rather their children sleep an extra hour or two to conserve their energy. Their child, Tong, was working on something important, something crucial. As parents, they needed to maintain a high level of awareness and not let Tong down. After a good night's rest, recharged with energy amidst the care and concern of his family, Wu Tong began arranging the experiment the next day. Before the experiment began, Wu Tong gathered the core team for a workshop. Teacher, Tao Ran, Brother Su, this project is of great importance. We need to resign the top-secret confidentiality agreement as part of the process. Wu Tong, already experienced in leading projects, had already laid out the step by step, creating a truly impressive experience. Cheng Huinen's eyes lit with satisfaction. Their Wu Tong team had truly grown up. In the near future, Wu Tong meticulously laid out the plan. Project Team 1, Teacher, please take charge. Project Team 2, Tao Ran, Brother Su, thank you for your hard work. Wu Tong arranged the personnel one by one, naturally leaving the core team to handle the key steps. However, the preparatory work and some experimental decomposition operations can be carried out by ordinary experimental personnel as before, to ensure the greatest confidentiality. Fixed nodes are interspersed with responsibilities and the order is disrupted. Even if there are problems with one or two researchers in the ordinary team, it will not cause data leakage. What's more, the current experimental personnel in the institute are all well tested, and they are all clear after repeated screenings. In order to ensure sufficient security, Wu Tong would rather slow down the pace of team formation, just so that there is no problem with the reliability of the team members. Internal personnel are reliable, and Wu Tong prefers to select outstanding representatives with excellent performance, hard work and dedication from the ordinary research members of the institute as a supplement to the core team members. It also gives ordinary researchers an upward force and can better enhance the positive atmosphere of the institute. A long period of stagnant water without room for advancement is not conducive to the development of the institute. On the third day after Wu Tong returned to Beijing, Lu Xiao called. The content was only a few words. Mr. Wu, the project has been successfully approved. For this Kanglong J35 project, you will be the chief designer, and I will be the chief engineer. Professor Feng, Engineer Zun, Mr. Yang, Mr. Chang, will serve as auxiliary support. Brother Lu, Wu Tong wanted to say that this was very different from what they had discussed at the time. Lu Xiao was more experienced in fighter design and project leadership, so it would be more appropriate for him to be the chief engineer. She had no experience in fighter aircraft research and development as a whole, and such a major project. Lu Xiao didn't wait for Wu Tong to finish speaking, and took over the conversation. Wu Tong, don't worry. I didn't make this arrangement on a whim, but I thought it over carefully. Mr. Wu, you must believe in your ability and be competent for this research and development task. He first defined this most important point. Scientific research projects never allow willfulness, and he would not let himself joke about the project. What's more, the supervision from above has always been strict. If Wu Tong didn't have the ability, the higher-ups would never approve his project application. The main body of the Kanglong J35 was born out of your achievements. Your contribution is unmatched. Moreover, The chief designer is mainly responsible for research and development, and problem solving. Which are your forte? As for me, I have some experience in project management and schedule arrangement. The chief engineer is responsible for supervising the implementation of the project, and this responsibility is just right for me. So, this time, let me be your deputy, and let's get the J-35 project done as soon as possible. The skeleton fuselage of the Kanglong is made of Wutong's super titanium alloy, and the large area of the skin is made of carbon fiber composite materials developed by Wutong. This is another transcendental achievement. The most important engine is still designed and developed by Wutong. Counting them one by one, even the startup layout diagram he designed, the design that optimizes and surpasses current technology, is still assisted by Wutong's NS solution results. Adding all these together, he has no face to serve as the chief designer of the J-35. Therefore, Lu Xiao took a step back and became the chief engineer who controlled the details. He made a decision from the perspective of better assisting Wutong. Chapter 303, Teacher. Thank you, Brother Lu, for teaching me. Lu Xiao had said this much, and any further refusal would have seemed hypocritical or timid. Wutong stopped refusing and turned to the main topic. This was her first time as the chief designer of a fighter jet, and in this regard, she needed to learn more from Lu Xiao, her guide, with an open mind. When it came to learning, Wutong always listened to advice, and she didn't mind learning more things, such as team control, R&D experience in large projects. As long as others were willing to teach with their strengths, Wutong was willing to learn with an open mind. Lu Xiao smiled and said, "No problem, I will tell you everything I know, and have a happy cooperation." Wutong was in charge of core R&D, and he was in charge of monitoring and arranging the progress. With the two swords combined, they would surely be invincible and create the world's most powerful carrier-based aircraft. Happy cooperation. She and Brother Lu had always had a pleasant experience in their several collaborations. The higher-ups have allocated research funds to the J-35 project team. Brother Lu, you'll be the one to arrange the allocation. After some initial study, Wutong decided to hand over the overall planning to Lu Xiao, who was more adept at it, and she would continue to learn. Okay, I'll check in with you about the larger allocations. I'll transfer the initial materials R&D funds to the Interdisciplinary Research Institute's account first. I'll be waiting for your good news on the materials upgrade. Lu Xiao, having worked as a deputy before, quickly got into the swing of things. Wutong's recent focus has been on materials upgrades and engine development upgrades, and Lu Xiao took over the initial planning without hesitation. Wutong's team has already completed all the R&D and design, and now it's just a matter of experimental verification for the materials upgrade plan, which naturally presents no major challenges. The two project teams are working in parallel, and with time accumulating, they can generate results in a day or two, followed by several days of repeated preparations to verify and fine-tune the process. The implementation is going very smoothly. Each achievement has left the participants practically stunned. Lin Yanan and Li Yongui, the new replacements for the core team, are even more impressed. When did scientific research become so easy? They were trial and error, and more trial and error. However, Mr. Wu's approach was like a question with a known answer: just follow the steps. As long as there were no operational errors, the results were generally transcendent. One of them had previously excelled as a researcher in Mr. Cheng's team, a woman who was as capable as any man. The other was recommended by Zhang Xiaoming, a talented student he had mentored over the years. They had also joined the institute after its establishment, spending several months in the regular team, gaining sufficient experience. Mr. Cheng was impressed and recommended them to Wutong, who screened and tested them, welcoming them into the core team. Almost all of the candidate team members recommended by various parties had already joined the institute, most of them from Mr. Cheng's background or old friends. The old man rarely spoke, so anyone with a friendship with Mr. Cheng or someone he had mentored was carefully screened and recommended. After multiple checks by the security department, those who were able to join the institute were considered sufficiently reliable. Tao Ran and others have already achieved their own results, setting them apart from ordinary researchers. Upon joining the institute, these individuals weren't immediately included in the core team. They were like seeds, nurtured within the broader environment, sprouting and breaking through the soil. Only those who excelled could join the core team, an inevitable process. Wutong's core team, though small, was highly skilled, and with a strong foundation of resources at the institute's lower levels, there was no rush to expand. Within 20 days, under Wu Tong's leadership, the entire material preparation and process cycle validation for the key materials needed for the aircraft engine had been completed. Data records, process records, core ratios, all this crucial information was compiled into a matchbox-sized USB drive, carefully placed in a titanium alloy safe, and attached directly to the wrist of the person who arrived to collect the materials. Mr. Wu, the escort is in place, ready to depart at any time. As Wu Tong's prestige gradually established itself, Yi and the others spontaneously switched to honorifics. With the improved materials complete, the process data needed to be sent to Factory 114 for production and processing. Yi also clutched an encrypted safe, containing the WS-B1's most crucial research and development data, top secret. Meanwhile, she was heading to the 614th Institute, where General Manager Yang Wei had been eagerly awaiting his arrival. Preliminary design drawings for the WS-B1 variable cycle engine had been escorted to the 614th Institute by security personnel. However, despite a thorough understanding of the design theory, they still faced numerous challenges and urgently needed the personal guidance of Wu Tong, the inventor of the development. Furthermore, for the WS-B1 to meet its expectations, Wu Tong would need to oversee improvements and optimize material matching. General Manager Wu, we've finally got you. As Wu Tong stepped off his special plane at a military-grade airport in Chang'an, Yang Wei greeted her with a beaming smile. Teacher Yang, just call me by my name. It's a pleasure to see you again, Wu Tong greeted Yang with a handshake. It could be said that her foundation in aerognes was laid by Yang's WS-15 research and development materials. Although they weren't officially teacher-student, Wu Tong sincerely respected Yang as her mentor. I'll show you around the place first, and then we'll have a simple meal. Yang Wei offered him a warm welcome. They figured Wu Tong had come all this way to teach them, to bring them new technologies and advancements, so the priority was to provide a good reception. On their first day, no matter how anxious they were, they couldn't immediately drag Wu Tong along to answer their questions. They had to allow him some rest. Teacher Yang, there's no rush. It's still early. Let's go to the Research Institute and discuss the details. For Wu Tong, a place to rest and decent food were all she needed. She wasn't picky about accommodations and meals. She'd just ask Mr. Yang to arrange for someone, including Sister An, to take her luggage to her residence. Now that she'd arrived at Xi'an Aircraft Industrial Corporation, she'd dive right into the WS-B1 development process. She could put those formalities aside for now. Who said there weren't deadlines for the J-35 project? But Wu Tong was known for her efficient R&D efforts. It was mid-November, and if possible, she hoped to complete this development project before the Lunar New Year. Firstly, it was a gift to the motherland during the Lunar New Year. Secondly, it was to fulfill her humble wish of returning home safely to celebrate the Lunar New Year with her family. Last year, she spent the Lunar New Year with the project team. While there wasn't anything wrong with that, it was exhausting for her parents to travel thousands of miles, through Qinzhou and Zhizhou, to accompany her. It was a source of worry for her family. Okay, let's go. Wu Tong was completely absorbed in R&D, so Yang Wei wouldn't hold him back. He was also a R&D geek, the kind who got all worked up over the mere mention of R&D progress. Wu Tong was immediately cleared to board the car and headed straight for Institute 614. Following General Manager Yang, Wu Tong took note of the institute's location as he explained its brief layout along the way. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 304 Precision. This is the office we've prepared for you. Is there anything else we need? Yang Wei first led Wu Tong to his office, which had previously been his. They had long anticipated Wu Tong's arrival, and he had specially cleared it out, preparing it early and awaiting Wu Tong's arrival. While they couldn't offer the highest standard of treatment despite their superior living conditions, they could still provide Wu Tong with a good working environment. Boss Yang, that's more than enough. Thank you for your effort, Mr. Yang. A desk is more than enough for work. The office was fully equipped with all the necessary supplies, nothing less than perfect. Wu Tong nodded in confirmation. She wasn't an ascetic, but she wasn't materialistic either. For her, an office didn't require too many requirements, just a place to work was enough. She wasn't picky. However, she now understood the ways of the world and, recognizing the thoughtful arrangements made by Institute 614 in Boisyang, she immediately expressed her gratitude. Wu Tong personally took the safe from Ke Yi, who had brought it with him for personal protection, and opened it, removing the USB drive inside and inserting it into her work laptop. Boisyang, please gather a few core engineers for a discussion. While it's possible to create a finished product by following the blueprints, a lack of understanding and a lingering confusion will undoubtedly hamper R&D and production progress. Before arriving, Wu Tong had already met with Yang Wei to learn about their progress. Her first priority was to have a detailed discussion with Yang Wei and several key engineers, address their concerns, and help them gain a deeper understanding of the WS-B1's design principles, thereby better guiding the team in creating the components necessary to assemble the WS-B1. While Wu Tong's presence was no longer a secret to those who knew her, it remained a closely guarded secret within the wider community. At the 614th Institute, Wu Tong didn't directly interact with the entire team. She served as the technical core, providing leadership and direction, while Chief Engineer Yang Wei was responsible for project implementation. Wu Tong's focus remained squarely on R&D. This was during a close discussion between Wu Tong and several key engineers from the 614th Institute, led by Boisyang. Simultaneously with Wu Tong, the nearby Zizhou Research Institute, with Lu Xiao at the center and personally leading the team, overcame technical difficulties and successfully built a Kanglong J-35 fighter jet model, which has now begun wind tunnel testing. The various super materials, titanium aluminum alloys, blade materials, carbon fiber composites, upgraded engine materials, optimized aluminum alloys, and optimized composite engine materials required for the Kanglong J-35 have been delivered to Factory 113 under security escort, where they are now fully operational and stockpiling large quantities. The entire Kanglong J-35 project team has quietly begun to work at full capacity, drawing their bows and arrows, the strings taut as they race towards their target like an arrow from a bow. Wu Tong, the wind tunnel data is excellent, the replicated data has a close error, the forecast data has been met, and the material reserves are in place. Let's begin full aircraft construction, as the core team at the 614th Institute had mastered the WS-B1's design theory and principles and began the intense process of component fabrication. Following Wu Tong's detailed component diagrams, Lu Xiao simultaneously announced his joyous achievement. Agreed, begin complete aircraft construction. Wu Tong immediately approved the request and clicked the confirm button. Meanwhile, with a delighted heart, he continued drawing the main components of the WS-B1's combustion chamber. While the combustion chamber wasn't large, its internal design was incredibly precise, with many key dimensions within 1 millimeter. Wu Tong's manufacturing tolerances were impeccable, with no more than a picometer allowed. When the fighter jet starts, fuel combustion occurs in a high-speed airflow of 100-50 meters per second and a lean fuel mixture, 3.5 to 4.5 or even 40 to 50. The combustion chamber components operate under high temperatures and loads, enduring static and vibration loads generated by gas and inertial forces. Furthermore, every detail of the engine and aircraft was crucial. The new combustion chamber material improves its resistance to heat, shock, and fatigue. Combined with an ultra-high temperature resistant coating, this not only increases the chamber's overall strength but also extends its service life, allowing it to operate longer under even greater impacts. Combined with superior blade materials and other optimized engine components, and the convergence of scientific research achievements and variable cycle adjustment parameters, the overall engine performance is bound to be improved to an unimaginable degree. General Manager Yang and several key engineers oversaw the creation of each engine component, and then supervised the assembly of each component. They personally inspected and touched every component, meticulously detailing every detail, striving for unparalleled perfection. Their hearts were filled with unquenchable enthusiasm, as they contemplated the incredibly superior predicted data, easily breaking another record, even one they had already broken. If it weren't for the need for rest, they would have stayed on the manufacturing line at the Research Institute, never leaving the line, ensuring quality and quantity, and compressing every possible time to complete the production of all components at an extremely fast pace. Wu Tong trusted the 614th Institute and old Yang, and they certainly couldn't disappoint him. They had to deliver quickly and effectively, ensuring the health of their researchers while also maximizing the team's speed and quality, laying the foundation for their future as China's premier engine research institute. A sharp sword is forged through grinding, and the fragrance of plum blossoms comes from bitter cold. Without enduring the bitter cold, how could the plum blossoms' fragrance be so fragrant? All their intense efforts now will become the foundation of their future, their confidence to defy all odds. As time progressed, components were assembled one by one, and as each component, from the interior to the exterior, was completed, the overall outline of the WS-B1 engine gradually took shape. With the lift blades assembled, the development of the WS-B1 engine truly entered its final stages, a process that had already taken over 2 months. It wasn't that they were slow, simply following a blueprint would take so much time. Rather, the WS-B1 engine required numerous components, each requiring extreme precision, almost entirely handcrafted. Their pace was already exceptionally fast. For the 614th Institute, developing an engine in just over 2 months that was years, if not decades, ahead of the world's advanced technology was a true miracle. The WS-15, a basic domestically produced engine, took nearly 3 decades from research and development to its launch. Including the initial development of domestic engines, the project took nearly 3 decades. Chapter 305, Dream Building. The WS-15, this basic version of the domestically produced engine, took a long time to develop and manufacture. If we include the initial development of the domestic engine, it's a full 30 years, no less. 30 years, based on an average life expectancy of 60 or 70, is half a lifetime. Based on a life expectancy of 100, it's nearly a third of a lifetime. It's enough time for a newborn to grow into a 30-year-old. Throughout the development of China's aviation industry, driving breakthroughs in aero engine technology has always been a key challenge. Domestic industrial research and development started late, and faced the extremely difficult situation of technological blockade. Every step of progress has been achieved by domestic aerospace engineers, with remarkable perseverance and ingenuity, as they groped their way forward. Catching up with the world's most advanced aero engine technology is the unwavering dream of all domestic aerospace engineers. The development of the WS-15 engine culminated in decades of arduous effort. From the initial conception to the WS-10, which was ridiculed as a patchwork, and from humbly seeking advice from the next-door giant to the heartbreaking experience of being nearly ripped off and handed a flawed, poison pie, the aviation engine industry has always faced numerous challenges and difficulties. As a latecomer, China has constantly imitated and learned from advanced technologies, exploring its own path. The development of the WS-15 engine has been fraught with hardships and setbacks. The ultimate success of the WS-15 is the result of the unremitting efforts of the entire 614th Institute. While its initial development may not have been perfect and still had a long way to go to reach world-leading levels, its creation represented the final arrival of a superior, independently developed, state-owned engine in China, a major breakthrough for its aviation industry and of significant strategic value. This breakthrough in its engine was the result of the long-term pursuit and exploration of aviation engine technology by patriotic aviation engineers. It was this persistence and hard work that led to the successful maiden flight of the WS-15 engine in 2005, and it embodies the technological breakthroughs that all aviation engineers have always pursued. They still remember the spirit of their struggle back then, never forgetting it. Over the past 2 years, thanks to Tong's support, they have been exposed to more advanced concepts, mastered them, and thoroughly understood them. The team's skills have vastly improved compared to their predecessors, giving them greater potential to achieve their dreams. Led by Yang Wei, they revived the same dedication that had brought them to the WS-15, ultimately collaborating with Tong to complete the WS-B1's launch. As the new achievement unfolded before Yang Wei and his team, their vision shifted from clarity to blurriness, tears of excitement welling in their eyes. Wu, we did it. We have a variable cycle engine, right? Yang Wei's voice choked, his lips trembling before he found his voice. For years, they had eagerly anticipated surpassing the world, leading the world. Now, truly, the achievement they had hoped to surpass the world, a product they had created single-handedly, lay before them. If they hadn't personally built it, personally supervised each component, assembled into one unit after another, and now, each component has become this brand new, world-beating WS, B1 with performance expectations. Looking at it, their hearts still swelled with pride. If they hadn't retained a modicum of common sense, they would have wanted to laugh with arrogance. Let everyone witness the remarkable new achievement they had created under the guidance of General Manager Wu Tong. Yes, Professor Yang, there was no surprise. We succeeded. The WS-B1 is here, ushering in the era of variable cycle engines. Wu Tong gazed at the not-so-large engine in front of him, his eyes filled with satisfaction. R&D designs drawn on paper are never more impressive than the real thing before their eyes. The WS-15, now fully assembled, resembled a small torpedo. Its small size packed an extraordinary burst of power. It would bring the world the ultimate experience and shorten the time it takes for China to achieve mature variable cycle technology by over a decade. In her future memories, Wu Tong stumbled upon a few fragments of information. It would be 8 years before Zhonghe had even achieved preliminary validation of its variable cycle technology. True technical maturity would take even longer than a year or two. Her ability to pull ahead of this technological advancement was a source of profound joy and relief. Ha, we did it. President Wu is amazing. President Wu, we did it. President Yang and several key engineers burst into tears of joy, dancing almost ecstatically. They had succeeded. They had successfully built a world-leading, ultra-high-performance variable cycle engine belonging to China. Previously, they believed that technological development was a gradual process, each step a reflection of accumulation and progress. Until they met Wu Tong, who, with one exceptional achievement after another, silently proved to the world that China should never be underestimated. Before Wu Tong, the biggest gap between them and their counterparts across the sea in aircraft engine development lay in their R&D approach. Their aircraft engine development is aircraft first, engine later, often starting only after the aircraft model is finalized. Meanwhile, across the sea, engines are developed first, aircraft later. By the time aircraft are developed, engines are already available. It can be said that the development model of developing an existing engine, followed by an aircraft, is the most consistent with aircraft engine development. This is because aircraft engine development is much more technically challenging than aircraft development, and the development cycle is significantly longer. These two different development models have distinct consequences. Domestically, engines often fall into disrepair and ultimately die due to the cancellation of aircraft models. In contrast, a strong engine foundation is far more valuable. Even if one or two aircraft models are cancelled, investment in engine development cannot be halted. Fortunately, China has never lacked visionary individuals, nor have unsung scientific researchers willing to fight for the country, even at the cost of their lives. Once relevant departments and exceptional researchers recognized the importance of this, they elevated aircraft engine development from a primary component to a level of importance equal to, or even greater than, that of aircraft. Now, they have the blessing of Wu Tong. With Wu Tong's assistance, China has achieved the world-leading WS-15S and now the brand new WS-B1. With even superior performance and greater resource efficiency, taking the lead in the world in developing a variable cycle engine. With this cumulative effort, China can now proudly call itself an engine powerhouse. They, China, have never fallen behind. Chapter 306 Ready. In the future, they will develop even more engines, not just limited to aerospace. As technology evolves, ships, automobiles, and more will all have the foundation for more powerful engines. It's just a matter of time. Chinese scientific research will undergo a profound transformation, and the research community will surely flourish. Wu Tong has laid a solid foundation for its development. Mr. Yang and others are deeply optimistic about the future of research, and they, too, will be a driving force behind this growth. Repeat the endurance test and closely monitor the overall performance and stability. Report the data, compressor pressure ratio, airflow, surge point, combustion efficiency, outlet temperature distribution. In the control room, Wu Tong gazed at the fully formed engine on the test bench and issued instructions. Testing was a skill familiar to both Wu Tong and the current R&D team. From components to assembly, extensive testing, both large and small, continues uninterrupted. Component performance and stability are crucial to the subsequent stability of the entire aircraft. They conduct individual tests on the core engine, fan, compressor, turbine, and control systems. Afterburner stability tests, control system semi-physical simulations, and other tests are conducted. Component reliability and durability tests under normal operating conditions are also conducted. The reliability and durability of each component under normal operating conditions are verified individually, including high cycle fatigue testing of blades, low cycle fatigue testing of key components like the disc and shaft, damage tolerance testing of key components, and environmental and reliability testing of accessories. Determining the extreme load environments of components is crucial for verifying component and system reliability, as well as component safety testing under severe load conditions. Each test generates precise success data, ensuring a reliable basis for component and system stability before moving on to the next step. These components are not simply manufactured and immediately put into service. They ensure that every component undergoes rigorous testing, ultimately resulting in the truly miraculous WS-B1. The complete success of the WS-B1 does not mark the end of the project. Testing continues. Repeated testing cycles have just begun. These include parameter measurements, control law tuning tests, rotor dynamics tests, thermal and pressure measurements, and vibration stress measurements. These measurements provide complete engine performance data and validate the accuracy of the engine's performance analysis model. Temperature limits for the inlet, compressor, combustor, and turbine are also verified, as are flameout limits for the combustor and afterburner, and distortion limits within the aircraft's maneuvering envelope. Ground and altitude simulation tests are conducted to demonstrate and verify the transient response characteristics of the propulsion system, and starting capability is verified through ground and altitude tests. Following standard environment testing, load tests are conducted, including accelerated mission tests, accelerated simulated mission durability tests, as well as dynamic stress measurements, to verify the WS-B1 engine's ability to operate safely, economically, and reliably within the planned inspection intervals and design service life. These extreme load environments validate the reliability of the WS-B1 complete engine. Following these load tests, complete engine tests are conducted under severe load conditions. These tests include blade out, containment, overtemperature, and smoke ingestion, verifying the effects of severe loads on the engine and its ability to maintain aircraft safety within the specified timeframe after the application of these severe loads. Fighter aircraft are likely to encounter harsh load environments during missions, and they must ensure their engines can stably support combat maneuvers in these challenging conditions. The WS-B1 has consistently surpassed world-leading standards, passing rigorous testing with flying colors. The accumulated data has once again filled the R&D team, led by General Manager Yang, with a surge of excitement. They can see with their own eyes that many new technologies are filling gaps in their aviation expertise, potentially yielding significant marginal benefits not limited to aviation but also applicable to other sectors. Peak thrust of 42 tons. The engine's fuel efficiency is at least 2.7 times that of the F-135. Upon seeing this data, Yang Wei's eyes lit up, his face flushing with excitement, a sign of extreme excitement. When Wu Tong first predicted a thrust of over 36 tons, with a peak figure projected at 40 tons, they were already stunned by the figures, and still imagined achieving 60 to 70% would be a major breakthrough. But Ms. Wu is Ms. Wu. Her predictions, as always, were modest and conservative. The actual figure achieved, a peak thrust of 42 tons, would have stunned the world if released. The F-119 engine across the sea has a maximum thrust of 18 tons. To increase the thrust of the F-135 engine, the designers improved the bypass ratio based on the F-119, bringing its maximum thrust to 20 tons. The other side of the sea boasts a well-developed industrial system and has always been far ahead in military engine technology, a point of pride for them. But now, they can proudly proclaim that they have completely surpassed the WS-15S, further improved on the WS-15S2 in service with the H-20, and even surpassed it by more than double with the WS-B1. This is a miracle for China, their glory and pride. Not bad, we've initially achieved our project goal, Wu Tong smiled with relief. After more than 2 months of tense nerves, finally, with this crucial figure, she could finally relax. Teacher Yang, take a deep breath and calm your nerves. Next, we have to move on to the next step, installing our WS-B1 on the Kanglong J-35 and witnessing our Dragon take to the seas. She succeeded. The J-35 now boasts exceptional power and maximizes energy consumption, enabling it to maintain its exceptionally long-range combat radius while still performing vertical takeoff and landing. Mr. Wu, We're only 3 days away from the Kanglang J-35's completion. Please come and inspect it in person." Amidst the jubilation and excitement of the R&D staff, Wu Tong's confidential phone rang, carrying Lu Xiao's voice, announcing the good news and requesting instructions. As she strided towards success, Lu Xiao, likewise, raced against time, forging ahead. Over the past 2 months, after successfully passing the wind tunnel simulation tests, construction progressed at a rapid pace. Now nearly complete, they were working at nearly the same pace, nearing completion of the Kanglang J-35. Waiting only for the heart to be placed. Chapter 307, Take the Lead. When it came to the Kanglang J-35 build, Wu Tong never worried that her engineering team, led by Lu Xiao and featuring engineer Zhan and Professor Feng, wouldn't be able to keep up with her pace. Wu Tong focused solely on the overall situation, her primary focus remaining on engine development. She trusted the abilities of Lu Xiao and his colleagues. Each of them was a leading figure in the fighter jet field, each possessing extensive industry experience. The R&D team was well equipped, ensuring they could follow the blueprint without any problems. With the previous successes of the J-20 and H-20, the Zhizhou Research Institute and the Xi'an Aircraft Research Institute both possessed a proven track record of rapid development and possessed highly advanced technology and equipment. These resources enabled them to expedite their work. With a clear aerodynamic layout and perfectly detailed blueprints already in place, along with a smooth material supply chain and sufficient personnel and technical equipment, the Kanglang J-35 build was a seamless process. Brother Lu, congratulations. The WS-B1 engine has just completed its overall testing. Professor Yang and I will be taking the WS-B1 to the Zhizhou Research Institute right now. With the help, the Kanglang takes flight. Okay, Wu Tong, we'll be waiting for you in the WS-B1, Lu Xiao, observing the bustling J-35 assembly workshop, assured him crisply, "We'll welcome you with the Kanglang J-35. The Kanglang J-35 was already undergoing final landing gear installation. The landing gear was made from the same MiG-4 material that Wu Tong had taken time to refine during his busy schedule. Wu Tong had added a fatigue-resistant technology system, improved surface quality, and enhanced material strength to ensure the structural components were smooth enough to withstand the immense impact of a J-35's high-speed landing. Combined with their designed takeoff and landing system, this ensured the landing gear would power the Kanglang J-35's vertical takeoff and landing, ensuring a long and durable lifespan. With this installation complete, the Kanglang J-35 could be declared fully completed today. He promised Wu Tong a 3-day countdown, 2 of which were dedicated to repeated calibration and flaw detection to ensure everything was flawless. "Boss Yang and I will be there as soon as possible," Wu Tong smiled, gazing into the distance. He seemed to see the bustling Zhizhou Research Institute, and above the azure sky above the test drive, they saw their dragon take off. "Brother Lu, today is the 15th day of the 12th lunar month. A belated Happy New Year. We can start the countdown to our New Year's gift." Before they knew it, they had already passed New Year's Day and entered the Gregorian calendar year of 2012. Today was already the 8th day of the first lunar month, the 15th day of the 12th lunar month. There's a saying that goes, "Don't be greedy, little kids." After Laba, it's the new year, they were already in the countdown to the Spring Festival. At this moment, the festive atmosphere was already brewing in every household across China. Their task of presenting their Spring Festival gift was quite daunting. Protective gear packed and the transport escort deployed, Wu Tong and General Yang were carried straight to the nearest military airfield. The transport plane was already parked. After escorting Wu Tong and Yang Wei aboard, the escorting soldiers swiftly and smoothly loaded the engine crates onto the transport plane. The escort squadron followed suit, and the transport plane glided off. The WS-15's technology has been adapted for transport aircraft. The Y-20 project team is working tirelessly on the project, and the maiden flight is expected to take place next year, or perhaps in the second half of 2012. After the transport plane entered a stable flight, General Yang exchanged information with Wu Tong. Wu Tong had sufficient authority, so there was nothing he couldn't tell him. He knew this because the Y-20 project team had asked for his help. They were originally working on the WS-15 to develop the higher thrust WS-20, aiming for even greater thrust to power the Y-20. The Y-20 was designed as a large multi-role transport aircraft, capable of carrying a variety of supplies and personnel over long distances in complex weather conditions. It aimed to have excellent short-field takeoff and landing capabilities. The expected range was 4,000 kilometers, and the expected payload was 55 tons. Meeting the required payload required a significant engine capability. However, the Y-20 had been under development for 4 or 5 years, overcoming numerous challenges, with the engine remaining a crucial factor. It wasn't until Wu Tong, with the help of the 614th Research Institute, that they developed the WS-15S and the second optimized plus version used in the H-20. Its exceptional range and powerful power helped the Huilong and Kunpeng aircraft surpass world-leading performance, achieving several record-breaking performances. This gave Tang Changhong, head of the Y-20 project, hope. Tang approached him directly, intending to integrate the WS-15S technology into the WS-20 they were developing. Old Tang was complaining about us stealing the Y-20's codename. He was planning to wait until the Y-20 was successfully developed, and then, with a heroic promise worth 1,000 gold, he'd come up with a codename for the Y-20. Old Tang couldn't keep up, and our H-20 got the Kunpeng codename first. Actually, the H-20 originally considered the codename Ghost Fierce Bird, to emulate internationally recognized birds of prey. But they decided that name didn't align with Chinese aesthetics, ultimately choosing the name Kunpeng, symbolizing wings reaching the sky, soaring through the clouds, and carrying the blue sky for 9,000 miles. Kunpeng, an ancient mythical beast, embodies the Chinese aesthetic, and it also resonates with the likes of the mighty dragon and the blue dragon. Yun 20, Wu Tong couldn't help but smile knowingly at the mention of this. She was no stranger to the Y-20. It was a popular internet sensation, and the name Chubby Girl, endearingly cute, became synonymous with the Y-20. On the other hand, the codename Kunpeng wasn't widely known. So, when the H-20 was named Kunpeng, she hadn't realized there was such a thing as a codename competition. Then wouldn't we be a bit unfair to Mr. Tang? Not really. Mr. Tang didn't say anything. We're moving fast, and the H-20 got interviewed first, so naturally we have priority, Mr. Yang chuckled mischievously. As a participant in the H-20 and a nominal engine designer, he was proud of the H-20's rapid development. Of course, they couldn't be blamed, it was just that Mr. Tang and his team were slow. Mr. Tang is a master at playing the pitiful game. If he knew you said that, he'd be so happy. Waiting for you to help him master the WS-20, they were all insiders, so anyone could get in on the action. If Wu Tong hadn't been busy, had a very important project on hand, and had Mr. Tang's information always been a step ahead, he would have come to Wu Tong long ago. However, he wasn't stingy. Wu Tong had authorized him to directly and unconditionally transfer the WS-15S technology if it was legitimately needed for other national projects. With permission from above, he shared the technology with him and also provided him with a large amount of T4 titanium aluminum alloy and T5 nickel iron blade material, enough for him to digest for a while. Now we have the WS-B1. Hey, if old Tang smells something, he'll probably come knocking again. As the second person to come into contact with this cutting-edge, transcendental technology, President Yang Wei felt as proud as if he had just drunk a celebratory glass of wine. What a blessing. We had to meet President Wu first. Chapter 308, Coming Again. Wu Tong welcomes the technology's diffraction, leveraging its marginal impact to support more domestic applications. She's even more excited to see others build upon it and develop further applications. A single flower doesn't make a spring. 100 flowers blooming in full bloom to greet the spring sun is the ideal situation she desires. Her perspective and the research she can conduct are ultimately limited. She simply hopes that more and more talented individuals will contribute to scientific research, helping the Chinese dragon soar and safeguard the East. Inside the transport plane, a cacophony of noise lingers. Wu Tong and CEO Yang, wearing protective noise-canceling headphones, chatted briefly before each taking a nap. The two locations are not far apart. Just over an hour later, Wu Tong and her group landed safely at the airport near the Zizhou Research Institute. The transport vehicle and the special car escorting Wu Tong and CEO Yang were already waiting at the airport. After disembarking, they transferred to a car and arrived at the Zizhou Research Institute, Wu Tong's second visit. Her last visit was to witness the J-20's maiden flight. This was her third visit to Zizhou. Her second trip to Zizhou was to Huazhong's missile base, responsible for developing the PL-15 air-to-air missile. Visiting the Zizhou Research Institute again, she would witness the soaring of a giant dragon. After inspection, the car drove directly into the Zizhou Research Institute. As soon as the convoy stopped at the main research building, Lu Xiao, along with engineer Zhan and Professor Feng Yuanyang, greeted them. Mr. Wu, Mr. Yang, we have finally reunited in triumph. The group exchanged greetings with beaming smiles. The cold of Zizhou, the desolate silence of the yellow sand, could not dampen their fiery spirits at the moment. Let's go in and talk. Let Mr. Wu and Mr. Yang have a cup of warm jujube tea to drive away the chill. It's even colder here in Zizhou than in Chang'an. With a simple greeting, Engineer Zhan immediately greeted them warmly. The group entered the institute and headed towards the assembly workshop. As Wu Tong greeted the chief engineers, she spotted Jin Xin, who was accompanying Professor Feng Yuanyang. Her eyes curved at Jin Xin, a silent greeting. See you again, little brother. This time, they were truly working on the same project team. No words were needed between her and the little brother. Professor Feng Yuanyang had fulfilled his promise, bringing Jin Xin with him to the J35 project team. He had truly exposed Jin Xin to cutting-edge design and technology, accumulating insights and knowledge that would be absorbed and applied for years to come. With a mentor who believed in him and the opportunity to work on a project as major as the J35, the foundation for Jin Xin's future was already laid. She looked forward to the day when he would soar to the sky like a rock. The Kanglong is in place. It's already undergone preliminary calibration and flood detection, and will continue to undergo calibration as it awaits engine installation. Upon entering the research facility, Wu Tong and General Manager Yang donned their protective workwear. Wu Tong donned her protective cap and a mask that hung over her face, covering her eyes. This ensured no one could see her face. This was also her protection while she was inside the facility, in the presence of non-essential personnel. Arriving at the assembly workshop, Lu Xiao introduced Wu Tong and General Manager Yang to the massive aircraft standing not far from them. Its light navy gray paint job was a stealth design, soaring through the blue sky. Its shipborne stealth design, sharp nose, striking canards, distinctly different vectored nozzles from standard fighter jets, and modified swept wings. Just standing there, it exuded a sense of futuristic technology. This is our Kanglong J35. We use the finest fuselage materials, the best aerodynamic layout, the most aerodynamically sound, and the world's most advanced electromagnetic catapult system. Now, we also have the world's best variable cycle engine, the WS-B1, providing it with the most powerful power. Our Kanglong is sure to dominate the world. Engineer Zhan and Feng Yuanyang gazed at the giant steel dragon with almost fascination, as if they could see it, the moment it roared into the sky, its mighty power trembling across the world. Once it took flight, they would officially control the deep blue. Wu Tong and General Manager Yang gave the chief engineers a thumbs up. They had truly worked hard, their tireless efforts at the Research Institute day and night making the Kanglong a success. General Manager Lu, Chief Engineer Zhan, Chief Engineer Feng, General Manager Wu, General Manager Yang, the engine is in place. Please give your instructions. Jin Xin, accompanied by the escort, oversaw the delivery of the engine. After unpacking it and revealing his true identity, he quickly ran to the group of responsible personnel, stood at attention, and raised his hand in a standard military salute. Jin Xin's gaze finally caught up with Wu Tong, seated in the center. As his mentor delved deeper into the Kanglong J35 project, he truly understood what Tong had been working on over the past 2 years. This mere glimpse of the tip of the iceberg had already left him completely transfixed. His sister's prowess had once again surpassed his expectations. Tong was behind the stunning launches of the J-20 and H-20. The WS-15S, single-handedly optimized and developed by Tong, was a world leader. Now, Tong had even led the team in achieving even greater advancements in variable cycle engines, transforming the concept into practical reality for a fighter jet. This had completely widened the gap with the international community, leaving the world's most advanced aircraft far behind. And these, it was said, were only a small fraction of Tong's immense achievements. There was much more that he lacked the authority to understand and was unaware of. Recalling all these events, Jin Xin's eyes sparkled with deep pride for his daughter, Tong. He once again felt enveloped in his sister's divine aura, a towering height above him. Boss Wu, please give your instructions. Lu Xiao and Engineer Zhan. Feng Yuanyang smiled at Wu Tong, a testament to their respect and confidence in the project leader's position. They no longer held any grudges against Wu Tong. No one could harbor any rebelliousness in the face of such a brilliant talent as Wu Tong. Test the engine's performance and begin installation, Wu Tong gave the order directly. This was no time for refusing or showing humility. Brother Liu, Engineer Zun, and Professor Feng had so sincerely built her the platform for leadership, and she couldn't let them down. Installation began. With the order issued, the entire assembly shop began operating smoothly again. Lu Zhao and Feng Yuanyang personally oversaw the installation process, while Wu Tong and Bo Xiang, accompanied by Engineer Zun, inspected the engine and tested its performance. The WS-B1, transported from afar, theoretically should be safe given its stability, proper transportation, and safe handling without any bumps or accidents. However, in scientific research, there are no by chance or fortuitous luck, only reliable verification results provide the best proof. Chapter 309 Dazzling. Installation, commissioning, calibration, flaw detection, a series of operations, all tools and procedures were pre-designed and even simulated. As soon as the engine arrived, all R&D personnel set to work, methodically following the predetermined procedures. For a full week, the team worked tirelessly to seamlessly integrate the WS-B1 with a Kanglong fuselage, ensuring a flawless fit. After repeated flaw detection and meticulous inspections, finally, on the 27th day of the lunar year, the giant steel dragon took to the skies amidst everyone's anticipation. The wind swept cold clouds across the clear blue sky, its mighty power transformed into rainbow. I wonder who will grasp the moon in the sky, soaring through the jade sky, the Chinese dragon. As the Kanglong J-35 soared into the sky at lightning speed, without even gliding, driven by its lift power, thunderous cheers erupted from both inside and outside the control room. As we all know, fixed-wing aircraft generally require a relatively long runway to take off. During the Middle East conflict, the massive airfield attacks not only gave rise to the world's 10 largest drones, but also exposed the shortcomings of runway takeoffs. This weakness was particularly magnified during the Cold War, as the arms race between Russia and China escalated. Nuclear strikes exacerbated these shortcomings. Driven by Cold War thinking, a cutting-edge aircraft takeoff method emerged, vertical takeoff and landing, previously the preserve of science fiction films. In sci-fi films, futuristic aircraft never needed runways, any flat surface was sufficient for vertical takeoff and landing. This impressive takeoff and landing method has now arrived in the real world. They've achieved it, vertical takeoff, truly vertical takeoff. No one could take their eyes off the gray dragon, dazzling against the azure sky. The test pilot was ace pilot Liu Zhihan, assigned by the Carrier-Based Aviation Brigade. A good pilot is the key to a fighter's combat effectiveness. Between fighters of the same level, pilot control is the decisive factor in success or failure. However, between fighters of unequal quality, the pilot's exceptional ability to deliver a decisive counterattack is even more crucial. No matter how advanced a weapon may be, it's ultimately a human being who wields it. Without solid technical expertise in today's modern fighters, even the best fighters won't be able to fully realize their greatest strengths. China's Air Force equipment, overall, may not have reached world-leading levels before the emergence of fighters like the Weilong, but the brave prevail in every encounter. The Chinese Air Force and its pilots have never ceased their relentless pursuit of technical prowess. Since China's rise, even when faced with provocation, they have been able to deliver a powerful counterattack. Much of this success stems from operational skill. Liu Zhihan, having piloted fighters, has repelled foreign aircraft far superior to their own. Now, they too must possess world-leading fighters. Instincts honed through years of training, strengthened by muscle memory from simulated J-35 operation training, Liu Zhihan's blood boiled as he instantly soared into the air in the Kanglong, yet he maintained his instinctive composure. Excellent pilots, equipped with superior fighters, this powerful combination promises unstoppable victory. Soaring through the familiar blue sky, he executed various super maneuvers effortlessly. His new companions responded with the swiftest reaction and the strongest support. Unprecedented challenges, thanks to the fighter's powerful performance, were easily accomplished. Flying at ultra-low altitude, barely skimming the sand, he instantly soared, accelerating at breakneck speeds, maintaining the supersonic cruise speeds of the J-20 and H-20. At high speed, he transitioned from high-speed flight to ascending and then to hovering in mere seconds. Backflips, falling leaves, cobra maneuvers, superlateral maneuvers. Each and every statistic combined demonstrated the unrivaled performance of the J-35 Soryu. Crucially, not only had they successfully launched a STOVL fighter, but also, despite international criticism of its limited performance and combat radius of only 300 kilometers, their Soryu had now soared thousands of miles, maintaining its endurance despite the demands of these super maneuvers. No longer a useless piece of junk that consumed a third of its fuel for a single vertical takeoff, it truly possessed instant takeoff and long-range, beyond visual range strike capabilities. It was a truly technologically advanced short-range vertical takeoff fighter. In the future, taking off from the sea with a full load of ammunition, it would undoubtedly be a piece of cake to take on second- and third-generation fighters. Even fourth-generation aircraft would be the absolute king of aerial combat. Such predictions filled everyone with joy. All of this was fueled by the powerful power provided by Wu Tong's successful research and development of the WS-B1 engine. This not only continued the WS-15S's exceptional endurance, but also empowered their Kanglong, overcoming the ultimate energy consumption issue plaguing the world. This gave the world the possibility of witnessing a miracle, and elevated China's global leadership. In the control room, as the Kanglong steadily executed one extreme definition maneuver after another, the data from various performance tests, breaking records one after another, seemed like normal operations. The Kanglong successfully returned home, and everyone was almost beside themselves with excitement. With the same gesture, they focused their gazes on Wu Tong, who, as always, was calmly reviewing the data. Their success today was all based on the progress Wu Tong had made. Why is everyone looking at me? Once the Kanglong lands, we'll complete the inspection and data collection, then we'll have a celebration banquet. We won't forget, Wu Tong smiled, changing the subject. The cafeteria must have prepared everything in advance. Thank you, Mr. Liu, for your thoughtful arrangements. While she contributed to the success of the Kanglong J-35, this success was the result of the dedicated efforts of the entire R&D team. Wu Tong didn't want all the credit to be focused on her because of her aura. Everyone's worked hard these days. Relax at the celebration banquet later. Finally, we've successfully presented our nation with a New Year's gift. The Kanglong J-35 successfully took off before the Lunar New Year. This time, without a single incident, she had fulfilled her promise for the year. With the success of her research and development, the fulfillment of her vows, Wu Tong's brows relaxed, her smile growing wider. A young man's ambition. This is a must. We'll have a few more drinks later. It's all voluntary. If you don't drink, you can have drinks instead. Knowing that Wu Tong was always humble, Zhongong and others were not in a hurry to heap praise on Wu Tong. They immediately followed Wu Tong's topic and turned to the discussion of the celebration banquet. Chapter 310 Magnificent. A researcher's brain is particularly important. Alcohol can directly damage brain cells. Alcohol consumption is a matter of personal preference. It should be enjoyed in moderation. Excessive drinking is strictly prohibited. Wu Tong, in particular, possesses a precious brain, and no one will try to persuade her to drink. Any actions that harm her brain, any actions that harm her body, are strictly prohibited. Wu Tong continued to review the data summary passed to her. She was generally satisfied with the results achieved by Kanglong, but she wasn't satisfied. After Kanglong successfully landed and the entire research institute cheered and celebrated outside the control room, Wu Tong whispered her vision, "We've had initial success, but there's still a long way to go. Regarding the future development of the STOVL model, perhaps we could expand it to allow it to move freely across space like a flying saucer, even into space. It's possible." Inside the control room, Lu Xiao, Zhongong, and the others' eyes lit up, proud that China had a talent like Wu Tong. In this moment of celebration, Wu Tong didn't dwell on her immediate success, her ambition soared into the future. They believed this vision would surely become reality in the future, for this young woman, who had already spearheaded one major project after another, bringing about a leap forward in science and technology, was only 18 years old, in the prime of her youth. At that moment, the young woman's words flashed through the minds of several people simultaneously. If the youth are wise, the nation will be wise. If the youth are wealthy, the nation will be wealthy. If the youth are strong, the nation will be strong. The red sun rises, its path radiant. A river rises from its hidden stream, spilling into the vast ocean. A dormant dragon soars from the abyss, its scales and claws fluttering. A young tiger roars in the valley, terrorizing all beasts. An eagle tests its wings, stirring the dust. Exotic flowers bloom, their radiance shimmering. A sharp sword sharpens its blade, its edge sharpened. The sky bears its azure, the earth its yellow. Even if there are thousands of years, there are still vast expanses. The future is vast, the days ahead are long. Beautiful is our young China, eternal is the heavens. Magnificent are our young people, boundless is the nation. With such top talents, and with the nation's continued support for education and talent, how can China not be strong? Even though they were about to turn from their prime to their old age, the country had Wu Tong, Lu Xiao, and a steady stream of young scientific research talent to come. Their research would surely endure. The celebration banquet was a sea of revelry. There was no clinking of glasses, singing and dancing as seen on television. Instead, it was filled with excited R&D personnel, smiling faces, and the exuberant spirit of the Zizhao dessert. Huge slabs of meat, generous bowls of soup, and a wide variety of satisfying celebratory dishes were served, offering the utmost satisfaction. This was just the initial celebration, more contributions would follow. The country will not let down anyone who has dedicated themselves to the nation. Statistics were collected, analyzed, and the successful flight test of the Kanglang J-35 was reported to the higher authorities. The Kanglang's flight data, with its superb maneuverability, 3,000-kilometer combat radius, and naval strike capability, was truly unparalleled. By the time all this was completed, another 2 days had passed, and time had truly entered the 29th day of the lunar year. The project was nearly complete, and Wu Tong could finally fulfill her dream of a family reunion. This year, there was number 30th, so the 29th was New Year's Eve. Thank you for the finishing work, Brother Lu, Engineer Zun, and Professor Feng. Wu Tong said goodbye to the others as the special plane came to a steady stop. Happy New Year, everyone. With the R&D work complete and the Kanglang's maiden flight trials successfully concluded, Wu Tong would be of little use going forward. She simply applied to be home to celebrate the Lunar New Year with her family on New Year's Eve. Naturally, there would be no restrictions on this. Wu Tong had contributed so much to the country over the past year, and her scientific research had contributed so much to the country's progress. Even with such a simple wish, they would absolutely do their utmost to fulfill it. This was just preliminary. Subsequent arrangements would be made gradually once President Wu had a peaceful new year. That's all right, that's all right. Mr. Wu, you've been responsible for all the important R&D work. We're just doing the finishing touches. Happy New Year and Happy New Year's Eve. Mr. Wu, go home and enjoy the new year with your family. And please send us New Year's greetings. Engineer Zan waved his hand with a smile, letting Wu Tong go home without worry. Their work on the Kanglang J-35 project was a complete win. It was their honor to complete such a remarkable achievement. They were also excited. How could they possibly feel tired? This was a glorious opportunity that so many others couldn't even dream of. As for not being able to go home for the new year, their families were accustomed to their special circumstances. When they weren't busy with important research projects, they would make more time to spend with them. They were all veteran researchers, and Wu Tong was still young, missing his family. Having already been away from home after the project team last year, they couldn't afford to hold him back again this year. See you after the new year. Wu Tong stepped onto the gangway and waved goodbye. Boss Lu, Engineer Zun, Teacher, Happy New Year, see you after the new year. Jin Xin followed Wu Tong and said goodbye. Happy New Year, Brother Jin, take good care of our boss Wu, Engineer Zun responded with a smile. Having worked together on the project for so long, they were all familiar with Jin Xin. Jin Xin, I'll give you 10 days of annual leave. Remember to be there on the 10th. Feng Yuanyang waved and finished the finishing work. Thanks to Boss Wu, he wouldn't have to keep this kid on the project. It was a reunion year, and without this kid, Boss Wu's family wouldn't be happy. Thank you, teacher, you're so generous. I like you. Jin Xin chuckled and followed Wu Tong onto the private plane, looking around curiously. He bowed and smiled at Wu Tong. Tong, TOEFL, this is my first time traveling on a private plane. He would have to work hard for at least 20 years to enjoy this kind of treatment. Now, he followed Tong and got on the private plane, enjoying the benefits of a private plane 20 or 30 years in advance. This feeling, it felt like something he could brag about 3 years ago. Brother, I don't mind if you work harder. Wu Tong raised his eyebrows and joked. If the brother wanted to work overtime on his own initiative, they would support him. Pressure brings motivation. Jinzin hurriedly shook his head. Please spare me, I'm almost going to win the title of the hard-working emperor. I've worked hard enough. If I keep working hard, I'll really explode. Shrugging his shoulders and spreading his hands, Jinzin sat down honestly. God knows what kind of hell he has been in since his senior year of high school. What seems to be a flourishing life is all the result of his hard work day and night. However, people have inertia. As he learns, he gets used to it. He has adapted well to the current pressure and does not feel it is a burden. Of course, he will not enjoy it either. It's the new year, and it's hard to take a few days off. He is determined not to cause trouble for himself. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 311 Wolf Prize in Mathematics. Tong, please be kind. Jinzin's exaggerated performance, his feigned terror, had Tong and the other bosses imitating his bad behavior. Isn't it because you have such ambitious goals, and I want to help you realize them sooner rather than later? The smile in Wu Tong's eyes was like starlight shattering into a river, a playful and carefree expression. The project had been successfully completed, the burden lifted, and she felt free and relaxed. The joy of going home to celebrate the holidays with her family lingered in her heart, and naturally, she had the leisure to play pranks on the young man. Please spare me. During the New Year holiday, let's not talk about studying or research, just have some fun. Jinzin raised his index finger, indicating that this was his only thought. Everyone has their moments of wanting to slack off. He didn't consider his studies and research a burden, but that didn't stop him from wanting to slack off during his rare vacation time. Lately, stealing a moment of leisure has become almost his ultimate pursuit. The opportunity to participate in the Kanglong J35 project is something many people only dream of. Jinzin knew full well that his participation was due to his teacher's appreciation and, undoubtedly, Tong's influence. This opportunity was hard-won, and now that he was on the project, Jinzin had to work tirelessly, studying and researching without delay. He feared embarrassing both his teacher and Wu Tong, and wasting such a golden opportunity. Now that the project had been a complete success, he had earned a vacation to go home with Tong for the Lunar New Year and relax for a few days. His frayed nerves could finally relax, and Jinzin truly didn't want to lift a finger. No problem, whatever you want, Wu Tong gestured. While teasing might be a joke, Wu Tong wasn't about to push Jinzin to such a tight deadline. They didn't expect much from the young man. They supported his voluntary and self-motivated study, and they also supported his desire to relax and enjoy life. As long as he was on the right track and felt happy, that was all that mattered. Wu Tong never, just because he had some knowledge, made excessive demands on Jinzin. Respect was always his attitude towards Jinzin's decisions. The siblings' banter and bickering were simply a sign of their closeness. Even during their senior year of high school, Wu Tong wouldn't set excessive goals for Jinzin. Even when it came to school applications, Wu Tong and his family embraced Jinzin's preferences, allowing him to pursue his dreams. After Wu Tong, Jinzin, and the security personnel escorting them back to Beijing settled in, the special plane glided away. Over the past year or so, the superior technologies of the J-20 have spread, and modern military aircraft have undergone optimizations. The special plane that picked up Wu Tong represented the latest technological advancements, boasting faster, smoother flights, and significantly increased endurance. After a few bantering exchanges, the conversation turned to their anticipation for their family, discussing what dishes would be served at this year's New Year's Eve dinner. They expected their family to be pleasantly surprised when they arrived. Everything was ready, awaiting their return. Wu Tong also informed his family that they were returning today. The festive atmosphere lingered, growing stronger. As the special plane neared Beijing, another piece of world-shaking news resonated throughout China and abroad. The Wolf Prize in Mathematics was officially announced on Chinese New Year's Eve. Along with the Fields Medal and the Albert Prize, it's considered the highest honor in mathematics, and it's a prize closely watched by mathematicians and math enthusiasts worldwide. This year's Wolf Prize in Mathematics garnered even greater attention. Upon hearing the news of the winner, Wu Tong, the Chinese provers of the Goldbach conjecture and the Navier-Stokes equation, was the sole recipient, receiving the 100,000 RMB Wolf Prize alone. This record was both shocking and unsurprising, much like the sentiment expressed at the successful conclusion of the Navier-Stokes Equation Symposium. Mathematics prizes worldwide are proud to honor Wu Tong, sharing her glory, rather than requiring her to earn their recognition. Consequently, many speculated whether the 2012 Wolf Prize in Mathematics would be awarded to Wu Tong. The question of whether or not is more likely to be answered. Wu Tong's resume and academic level are sufficient for the award, but her age, if extended for several years, would lower the age limit for Wolf Prize recipients. The youngest Wolf Prize winner in mathematics is still held by Jean-Pierre Searle, who is also the youngest Fields Medal winner. Throughout the history of the Wolf Prize in Mathematics, recipients of this award have generally been of a certain age. Before the Chern Prize in Mathematics, awarded at the International Congress of Mathematicians, it was almost equivalent to a Lifetime Achievement Award. Wu Tong, who just turned 18, is far too young for this award, so young that some might suggest that other mathematics awards should be presented to her later. However, after much deliberation, the Wolf Prize organizing committee insisted on presenting the award to Wu Tong. Truthfully, Wu Tong contributed to this year's most dazzling mathematical achievements, and no one else can compare to her contributions to world mathematics. Both the proof of the Goldbach conjecture and the Navier-Stokes equations are monumental achievements rarely seen in a century, and both were achieved by Wu Tong this year. This year could be called the year of Wu Tong. She descended like the blazing sun, unrivaled in her brilliance. If such a once-in-a-century achievement were not awarded to her, and Wu Tong were instead placed in line, the prestige of the Wolf Prize in Mathematics would be significantly diminished, which is absolutely undesirable for the organizing committee. Furthermore, many pure mathematicians, driven by their commitment to the pursuit of truth and scholarship, strongly support Wu Tong's award. Their reasoning is pure. The Wolf Prize in Mathematics is meant to promote the advancement of science and art worldwide, not to reward the elderly. If older age alone were the only reason to win, everyone would compete to see who can live longer, and wouldn't they resent their mothers for not having given birth to them sooner? Mathematicians, when it comes to being harsh, can be as sharp as a knife. With Wu Tong's achievements and 10 years of contributions, she would have been eligible for the Wolf Prize in Mathematics in 2011. However, the debate at the time was similar, so let's put it aside for now. However, in the past 11 years, Wu Tong has made two major mathematical achievements that have shone brightly in the world, something no one can deny or ignore. Now, the major award winners are eager to present their awards to Wu Tong, rather than Wu Tong praying that they would give these awards to her. What should she be proud of? It's better to just hand over the awards without hesitation. Ensuring the authority and fairness of the awards is paramount. Chapter 312 Double Happiness. 2012 Wolf Prize in Mathematics was undoubtedly announced to the world amidst much anticipation. The winner was Wu Tong, a rare outcome that was uncontroversial. Those who are in dispute should first prove a millennium problem, or a world problem. Many have the courage to tackle a world problem, but obviously, not many possess the skill. Those who do possess the skill are generally wise in their approach and wouldn't be foolish enough to suspect the organizing committee of insider trading. Especially when it comes to the millennium problem itself. If the millennium problem were so easy to solve, only two would have been solved by now. Undoubtedly, this news once again rocked the internet, and even major international newspapers rushed to report on it. The Times, the Daily Mail, each of them dominated the headlines, hyping up this shocking yet unexpected news. They referred to Wu Tong as the Oriental prodigy, hailing the coronation of a new queen of mathematics, claiming the birth of a new queen of mathematics in the East. This prompted provocative questions. Where's their mathematical genius? Is this the century when mathematical achievements must look eastward? Compared to those ulterior motives in international and domestic reports, the shocking reports and reposts from major media outlets, led by official sources, were filled with a sense of universal joy. The enthusiastic netizens flooded the screens again, instantly bringing Wu Tong's award to the forefront. In the comment section, layers of posts built up a hot discussion on the forum. Happy New Year and auspicious arrival. My God has reached new heights and will surely continue to rise in the coming year, winning countless awards. Groups are flooding the screen to watch my God ascend the throne and be crowned. The Queen has arrived, shining brightly, the Queen of Mathematics. What a powerful title. Much more powerful than the Princess Pearl, the Queen represents exclusive access to all power, while the so-called Pearl and Princess are merely honors bestowed by outsiders. With the Wolf Prize in Mathematics in hand, is the Albert Prize just around the corner? China has secured the first Fields Medal of its own nationality. It is absolutely a shady deal that the International Union of Mathematicians does not give this award to my God, look up to my God, and wait in line for the world's top awards to receive my God's favor. The poor students can't even touch the most basic 3 Good Students Award or the Competition Award. Kyoto University, at Kyoto University, when will my God recruit students? Don't play dumb. My God is currently in his academic rise, and he doesn't have enough time for academic research. It would be a waste of talent to let my God lead students. New year, new atmosphere. My God, let us all get some of his talent. Worship my God, and pray for good luck in the college entrance examination. Compared to the enthusiastic netizens, Wu Tong was one of the last to hear the news. She was on her way home from her private plane, escorted by her security team, when Jinzin's phone, connected to the internet, stumbled upon the hotspot in the front row. Wu Tong had one, and she immediately clicked on the news, reading it and sharing the good news. The Wolf Prize in Mathematics, Tong. Double happiness for our family today, even during the holidays, Jinzin beamed. His Tong was truly remarkable, and he was proud to have received this world-class mathematics award. How do you feel? Announced. Not bad, Wu Tong beamed. Of course, winning a prize felt good. Sisterin, turn on your phone. Lately, in the confidentiality block area of the institute, Wu Tong's phone had been turned off unless necessary. She wasn't in the habit of checking her phone, so she didn't notice it immediately. As soon as Wu Tong turned on her phone, it started pinging with several missed calls, all from faculty members in the School of Mathematics. Wu Tong had informed them before leaving school, so the teachers and supervisors generally gave him a phone call, and if he didn't get through, they sent a text message to congratulate him. Seeing this, Wu Tong certainly wouldn't ignore it. He called back immediately, offering New Year's greetings. Okay, Wu Tong, Happy New Year to you too. Are you done with your work? Have you returned to Beijing? If you're not in a rush after the Lunar New Year, come to school when you have time, Dean Pen said with a smile. Knowing that Wu Tong had just returned to Beijing and hadn't even reached home yet, he didn't delay any further, urging him to hurry home and spend the holidays with his family. Zhou Wenping, on his part, gave the same instructions as Dean Pan, celebrate the Lunar New Year first and leave everything else for the rest of the year. They simply wanted to congratulate Wu Tong immediately after seeing the news. Even though Wu Tong couldn't get through at the time, they weren't in a hurry. A confidential project meant they couldn't contact the outside world at will. They hoped Wu Tong would see their wishes when he turned on his phone. They timed it well, and although they couldn't reach Wu Tong immediately, he called back shortly after. Even better news, Wu Tong had finished his work and returned to Beijing. Seeing Wu Tong again after the Lunar New Year was truly a blessing, a perfect reunion. After settling all that, Wu Tong and Jinzin arrived at the unknown basement. As they went upstairs, they were greeted by their entire family. Tong, Zixin, you're finally home. Come in, it's cold outside. The family happily welcomed Wu Tong and Jinzin into their home. Seeing that the two children weren't dressed warmly, they hurriedly begged them to sit down and rest. In their eyes, wearing nothing but 3 layers in the middle of winter didn't seem like enough. In fact, Wu Tong and Jinzin were both wearing adequately windproof cashmere coats. They were picked up and dropped off by cars, their heaters preheated, so no one would get cold, not them. But there's a kind of cold called being cold when your family thinks you're cold. Wu Tong and Jinzin could only passively endure the loving care and concern of their family. Everything is ready at home, except for the 2 children. Without them, the family would be missing half of their vitality. They knew that the children would find a way to come back for the new year, so they were counting the days and preparing in full swing, just waiting for the children to come back to spend the new year together. It's completely different to have children at home and not to have children at home. When the children are not at home, the house always feels empty, but when the 2 children come back, the whole family can be said to be full of life. Their family belongs to the generation that children are very important to them, otherwise, they would not have decided to move here just because Wu Tong is in Beijing. However, they will not, for their attachment, restrain their children's upward flight. Both children are striving to make progress and contribute to the country, and they are proud of it. They just have to endure a little bit of trouble when the children are not around, but it's not a big deal. They can persist, And the children's business is more important. They can overcome it. Even though their children are not around, they are still provided for. Life is never a problem. They can take a walk, exercise, or work. They can still enjoy themselves and not do what they want. Chapter 313 Sweet Rain. Are you tired from the journey? Why did you bring back so many things? Sumi Fang and Jin Yu brought out 2 bowls of hot drinks, ready to warm the children first. Seeing the boxes being carried in one after another, they couldn't help but be surprised. The specialties over there are all prepared for Tong. It's hard to refuse their hospitality. We only found out after we got off the plane. Jinzin was very happy. Zhang Guangliaoxi and his men were not stingy at all. They prepared all good things. Angelica from Minxin, Synopsis from Hongcheng, honeydew melon from Guazhou, apples from Xianshu, lilies from Zizhou, Taoank stones from Zizhou, grapes from Dunhuang, luminous cups from Zizhou, green tea from Longnan. There was a dazzling array of things, from food to daily necessities. All the specialties of Zizhou were brought in double. When they got off the special plane, many comrades from the security department helped with the carrying. When they went upstairs, they simply used the small carts prepared in advance. Zio K, Zio Wang, Zioan, stay for dinner. Everything's ready. Wu Jingzhong and Jin Yuan helped, bringing the children's belongings in sight and then greeting the 3 people who had escorted them upstairs. No, Uncle Wu, we have to go back and report back, so we're just saying Happy New Year. It was rare for Mr. Wu to be home, so Kei and the others wouldn't stay for long. After bringing their belongings inside, they smiled and said their goodbyes. Wu Tong entered the house. The community security was sufficient, so they didn't need to interfere with Mr. Wu's family and stayed close by. Tong, they say online you won another award, a world-class mathematics award? After watching Kei and the others go downstairs and close the door, Jin Yuan couldn't help but confirm the good news with Wu Tong. Our boss just called to congratulate me. Wu Jingzhong nodded in confirmation. He had just hung up before Tong and Jinzin arrived home. Our school leaders also called me. Jin Yu also raised her hand. Their school leaders wanted to invite Tong to give a speech at the school. However, Tong was so busy, and Jin Yu selfishly preferred that her own child have a good rest when he had time, so she did not agree. They were in an elementary school. Should Tong talk to the elementary school students about the extremely difficult mathematical knowledge they were studying, or about life and ideals? It was a bit inappropriate. The elementary school students could not understand what Tong was doing now. Or, don't waste Tong's rare rest time. It was not easy for Tong to have some private rest time throughout the year. Neither of them was the type to publicize it. Only a few people knew that Tong was their child. Yes, the Wolf Mathematical Award is a world-class mathematics award. It's not bad. Wu Tong nodded and gave Wu Jingzhong and Jin Yu confirmation. She had just checked on her phone and confirmed that it was indeed awarded to her. That's wonderful. It's a big family event for us. Let's celebrate it together for Tong today. Let's have hot pot later. This year, we'll have New Year's Eve dinner from hot pot. We can cook whatever we want, so we don't have to have 7 or 8 dishes and bowls that get cold. Unsure when the children would be home, the family worried that the dishes would get cold, or that the children would arrive too late to prepare the main course. After discussing it, the family decided to make hot pot the centerpiece. Adding some cold dishes and steamed fish to symbolize abundance year after year, the table was already overflowing. They wanted to expand the flavors of the hot pot, creating a 4-grid hot pot with mushroom, tomato, fish maw and chicken soup, and spicy hot pot, catering to everyone's needs and giving the children more options. Wu Jingzhong and Jin Yu had spent time in Zizhou last year, where lamb was plentiful. Thinking the children would be tired of lamb there, the family put a lot of thought into the ingredients for the hot pot. There was only 1 dish of mutton, wild beef, shrimp paste, squid, tripe, and yellow throat. Fresh vegetables dominated the scene, all rare in Zizhou, and something Wu Tong and Jinzin must have missed. Wu Tong held a small soup bowl, half filled with fish maw and chicken broth. The broth had been brewed long before, simmered long enough for the right amount of time. The broth was thick and creamy, fragrant, the fish maw translucent, the chicken firm and tender, its skin glistening. A faint, meaty aroma lingered, and the broth was delicious. Blowing gently on it and sipping it, the sweet and savory flavor washed over his taste buds, a delightful experience. Wu Tong gave Grandpa a thumbs up and lavishly praised him. "This soup is the pinnacle of your craftsmanship. Most importantly, it was the taste of home, the love of family." Mom and Ann couldn't resist the invitation, and Jinzin joined in the soup. Grandpa's soup-making skills had truly improved by leaps and bounds. However, he really wanted to touch his crew-cut head and make sure, is it okay for him to drink fish moi and chicken soup? Fortunately, the amount was not much, so he could make up for it. Anyway, anything, if not in excess, will not have much impact. On the bright side, he was treated the same as Tong. Ha ha ha. After 3 days of absence, Grandpa has made my precious granddaughter look at him with new eyes. Jin Yongqing's smile overflowed. His further study this year was not in vain. Look at how well his precious granddaughter and he are in sync. You can tell at a glance that it is his craftsmanship. Jin Yuan and others also gave the old man a thumbs up. After the eldest sister and her husband restarted their studies, the old man and the old lady and their family really adhered to the principle of lifelong learning. Now they have a very good skill in making soup. The old man practiced his craft, and they really had a lot of soup this year, which kept them in good shape. It can be said that they enjoyed the benefits of the old man practicing his craft. The old man's enterprising spirit didn't deter him from slacking off. At his prime, he needed to seize the opportunity to save more for his 2 children. While Tong's wealth certainly surpassed his previous accumulation, and Jinkson expected to receive state pension support in the future, that didn't stop him from wanting to make further provisions for his children. The hot pot, featuring the character, fresh, in the name, was a welcome relief for the siblings, who had spent so long in the deserts of Zizhou. They devoured the family's elaborate preparations, celebrating the arrival of the Lunar New Year with their family amidst the joyous sounds of the Spring Festival Gala. Firecrackers rang out, bidding farewell to the old year, and the spring breeze brought warmth to the Tusu hustle. During the Lunar New Year holiday, Wu Tong spent the holiday at home with his family. Aside from visiting his teachers and wishing them a happy new year, he remained at home with his family, avoiding any further travel. He'd relax on the first day, return to his parents' home on the second, and entertain the girls on the third. Aside from the first and spring festival holidays, the other 2 had little to do with his family. For the family, moving the gathering from the Wu family's upstairs residence to the Jin family's downstairs was merely symbolic. It was also a way of adding a touch of New Year's spirit to the family, in accordance with local custom. Starting on the 4th day of the Lunar New Year, over the course of 2 days, Wu Tong brought his parents and invited Professor Chang, Dean Pan, Professor Zhou, Professor Li, and other familiar faculty members to visit for New Year's greetings. Chapter 314, Additional Election? Regardless of her achievements, these teachers are still her elders. Visiting them to pay New Year's greetings is a proper way to show respect for teachers. Last year, when she was working on a project, she didn't bother with anything else but focused on the important project, making special arrangements. This year, she was in Beijing, and Wu Tong didn't neglect this. Acting as a disciple, she visited her teachers at their homes. Earlier than expected, Dean Pen and Professor Zhou Wenping met Wu Tong. Both were extremely surprised to hear Wu Tong's visit, and with a mysterious smile, they revealed to Wu Tong the special arrangement that Peking University had made to help Wu Tong submit his nomination. Academician? Dean Pan, Professor Zhou, you guys. Wu Tong's eyes widened in shock upon hearing this. She was truly flattered and shocked. She had never expected that the university would actually help her secure this arrangement. Being an academician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences is arguably the highest academic title in science and technology established in China, a lifetime honor. In the early days of the People's Republic of China, the academic committee was established, imitating the older generation. Later, during a special period, the system was suspended for a decade or 2. In 1990, additional academician elections were held again, with the election schedule established as biennial. Wu Tong reviewed the criteria for academician selection. She recalled that they were based on academic achievement, contributions to the advancement of Chinese science, and loyalty to the people's cause. Researchers, professors, or scholars and experts with Chinese nationality, including those residing in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, as well as those residing abroad, who had made systematic and creative achievements and significant contributions in science and technology, loved the motherland, and had a decent academic style, could be recommended for election as academicians of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Academicians who reached the age of 80 were awarded the title of Senior Academician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Foreign scholars and experts who had made significant contributions to China's science and technology and held a high international academic status could be recommended for election as foreign academicians of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. It would be wrong to say that Wu Tong didn't understand this. She was quite knowledgeable and well-informed, and she had only a cursory glance at these basic facts, storing them in her memory. What she hadn't expected was that, at her age, she could already be included in this selection. She'd always thought that such a lifetime honor required a certain age to qualify for such a position. She was still young, and she hadn't even considered such an honor for a while. But, unbeknownst to her, her faculty had already begun making arrangements for her application. Haha. It's rare to see Professor Wu so surprised. Wu Tong was usually calm and composed, especially in research, and was accustomed to large-scale events. Seeing the surprise on his face, they couldn't help but smile, with the care and concern of an elder. Dean Pan, Professor Zhou, I can't help but be shocked. That's academician status, an honor I never dared to dream of. She had just reached adulthood, and the list of newly elected academicians was usually announced in March or April. Even if she were to follow her hometown rules, where she would be 1 year older after birth and 1 year older after the Lunar New Year, she was only 20. With such an honor, she felt a deep sense of responsibility. It wasn't that Wu Tong didn't have confidence in her potential to receive this honor. Her academic achievements were there, and with more to come, she would eventually reach this level. However, she had never imagined this opportunity would come so soon. Dean Pan's smile deepened. Wu Tong still hadn't properly grasped her academic prowess and her standing in China. In terms of academic achievement alone, Wu Tong was number 1 in China, a distant third. Who else deserved this honor but her? If Wu Tong didn't even qualify for it, this year's election could be suspended to prevent public discussion and tarnishing this highest honor. Don't worry, Wu Tong, this isn't an honor we've forced upon you, it's earned. Whether it's your previous proof of the 3 conjectures, the proof of the Goldbach conjecture, or the proof of the Millennium Problem, the NS equations, these significant achievements make your nomination as a member of the Chinese Academy of Sciences well-deserved. Even if Wu Tong's confidential research in material science were included, she would still be worthy of membership in both academies. Although Dean Pan didn't know the details of Wu Tong's achievements, which were protected due to confidentiality, the protective measures he received from his superiors and the rewards from the Independent Research Institute, these actions, despite his relatively clear vision, gave him a clear sense that Wu Tong must have made a significant contribution, just like his mathematical achievements. This was a subtle guidance from his superiors, who considered him a trustworthy veteran, allowing him to provide Wu Tong with convenient support and better protection. If you don't even make it into this rank, I'd have no faith staying here, Zhou Wenping added. He was also one of the candidates nominated for additional election this year. Compared to Wu Tong's guaranteed position, his academic achievements were certainly not comparable to Wu Tong's. In other words, being elected alongside Wu Tong would inevitably overshadow them. However, Zhou Wenping found it quite interesting to be Wu Tong's foil, to be elected alongside him. He didn't mind comparing himself to Wu Tong's academic achievements. In this world, how many people have achieved the same miraculous feats as Wu Tong? There's only one, the radiant sun, Wu Tong. However, his inclusion in this co-selection process was a testament to his solid academic achievements over the years. While Zhou Wenping might be ashamed of not having achieved greater things, his solid resume was truly worthy of his recognition. Thank you, Dean Pan and Professor Zhou, for your continued concern, Wu Tong expressed her deep gratitude. Honestly, she felt somewhat ashamed of her lack of teaching contribution to the university over the past 6 months, and in the last quarter, she was practically out of touch. Yet, despite her busy schedule, the faculty remained unwavering and diligently arranged things for her. This isn't right, Wu Tong, please don't be polite with us. Being polite creates distance. Your achievements and honors are also a source of honor for Peking University and our School of Mathematics. Your proof of the NS equation is an academic achievement far superior to any ordinary teaching assignment. The university has no objection to your focused research. Wu Tong was currently experiencing a period of academic advancement, and their guilt would be theirs to distract her. Contributing to the nation was their unshirkable duty. Most of the top math and physics experts at their school had participated in classified missions. He and Xiao Zhou had both been involved, so Wu Tong didn't need to worry about it. Wu Tong was capable of greater research, so their school had to let him do ordinary teaching. Using this to restrict Wu Tong was a true waste of talent. Chapter 315, Open-Minded. Of course, if Wu Tong had the energy and willingness to mentor students, they would immediately select outstanding individuals for her and allow her to take time off to mentor them. With a mentor like Wu Tong, how much one can learn depends on the student's ability. Facts have proven that Wu Tong's achievements can't be taught by mere instruction. No one would pressure Wu Tong to teach more students like her, it's unrealistic. At the end of the year, many people came to visit the two teachers, and Wu Tong didn't waste any time. After chatting with them, Wu Tong and her family said goodbye and left. Even after leaving, she felt a lingering emotion. After all, despite Wu Tong's calm demeanor, she was still young, and the extreme calmness of scientific research didn't translate to her daily life. Faced with such momentous news, such a huge honor, she couldn't remain indifferent. Academician, these simple two words, represent the highest and most important honorary title in China. It's an honor that makes her family proud, and it's the beginning of her family tree. However, Wu Tong's emotional ups and downs were limited to her own, and she didn't tell her family ahead of time. Without the official formula and results, everything was still uncertain, so she didn't want to cause her family any anxiety. If she told them now, their family wouldn't be able to live peacefully for the next 2 or 3 months until the results were officially announced. After the 5th day of the new year, while the festive atmosphere was still strong, those who needed to work began preparing to do so. In their family, Comrade Wu Jingzhong was the first to start work. While Teacher Jin definitely had to go back to school before the students' holiday ended, that was roughly a week away, so there was no rush. Jin Yu and Su Mifang ran the business, and although they would open on the 7th or 8th day of the Lunar New Year, the busiest period of the year had already passed before the Lunar New Year, leaving them relatively quiet after the Lunar New Year. Their own business offered more flexibility, and they didn't have to constantly monitor the store. Jin Yuan would only check in every other day, but when things got really busy, both couples would go to the store to help out. On weekdays, when the children were not home, Jin Yuan was usually at the store. It wasn't because he was worried about the employees, but rather, as a grown man, staying home all day wasn't the right thing to do. He could go out and contribute to the store and see how he could improve the business. With better business and more profits, the savings he could save for his 2 children would be more substantial. As for Jin Xin, despite the 10-day holiday, he hadn't planned to wait until the last minute. He still had a lot to learn, and this year he was facing an early graduation project, which was a heavy workload. On the day Wu Jingzhong was at work, Jin Xin also returned to Zizhou to report to his advisor, Feng Yuanang. Tong, you don't have to take me to the airport. I might need your help with my graduation project later. Jin Xin finally understood Tong's current importance to the country. She had been involved in major, top-secret projects, so her safety was a priority. He could simply send her off, not resort to a large-scale effort just to get her to the airport. Okay, no problem. If you ask me, I'll go through fire and water, Wu Tong nodded in response, smiling. It wasn't a big deal. As long as the little brother needed it, she knew something, and even if she didn't know anything about his section, she could learn it right away. No, just give me some pointers, but don't make any big moves, Jin Xin interrupted him hastily. He was just being naughty, but he didn't dare let Wu Tong make such a fuss. By the time his graduation project was out, Jin Xin, would be famous. He'd better design it himself honestly. If he didn't understand something, he could ask his instructor and Tong for guidance. He didn't dare let Tong take the lead. Haha. Jinxin, look how cowardly you are, the whole family was overjoyed. Jin Yuan pretended to kick his son lightly. Can't you just cheer up and try your best? Tong made a lot of promises, but he was breaking the promise. Jin Xin nimbly dodged his father's move, then turned around and gave him a look that didn't quite make sense. When Tong's secret contribution is updated, they'll know him. Why didn't they dare accept Tong's promise to go through fire and water? That's like using an anti-aircraft gun to kill a mosquito, making a big deal out of nothing. He might just be designing a novice model. If Tong were to give it his all, it wouldn't be impossible for him to transform it into an aerospace fighter. He didn't deserve it, not even the boss's full commitment. Just a few simple pointers to give him a sudden realization would be enough. After a few laughs, The family walked Jinzin downstairs. Wang Ji had already started the car and was waiting in the basement. Jin Yuan and Jinzin got in. Today, he and Wang Ji would take Jinzin to the airport. Goodbye, everyone. Don't miss me too much. Maybe soon, Hu Hansen, will be back. Jinzin had no idea that at that moment, he was actually prophesying to himself. Not long after, he really did return to Shangjing. Hurry up, you are the one who talks too much, and your narcissistic face is thicker than the Great Wall. You will give me a headache if you make noises for a few days when you come back. Su Mifang waved her hand in annoyance. When the child was not at home, she couldn't help but worry about him, but after a few days when he came back, he asked for something today, ordered something tomorrow, and the big boy was running around under her nose day by day. She missed the freedom of the child's absence again. Apart from his other abilities, her son Jinzin's face was really proportional to his height. Xingxin, take care of yourself, everything is fine at home, don't worry too much. Jin Yongqing and Grandma Jin waved their hands. After all, they were sending Jinzin away, but they couldn't help but give him more advice. A good man has ambitions and travels far and wide. Jin Yongqing has some insights and doesn't think he has to keep the two children by his side. Where the children are, there is home. Xingxin hasn't settled down yet, while Tong is settled in Shangjing. They can just snuggle up with Tong, who still spends most of his time in the capital. Seeing him every day is enough for them. Having both children succeed is something many people could only wish for. Jinxin finally waved and rolled up the car window. Grandpa said everything was fine at home, and Jinxin believed it wholeheartedly. Given Tong's contributions and importance, the higher-ups would surely take good care of the family, a step more reliable than even he could manage it himself. He was confident of this. So, Jinxin felt at ease as he headed towards his future. He was still receiving welfare support from Tong, so he needed to study hard and achieve his own achievements quickly, bringing honor to Tong. While his contribution might be minimal compared to Tong's immense success, at least he could show that he, as her brother, was a valuable asset who wouldn't let Tong down. He had always been open-minded and generous. Chapter 316, Blessings. Jinzin wanted people who mentioned him to say, he's Wu Tong's brother, a pillar of his field, a master, and a great performer. His family is truly remarkable. His family can be proud of him. Everyone has a drive to improve, a passion that makes their family proud. This wasn't a competition with Tong, but rather his own upward drive. As a grown man, enjoying the benefits afforded by Tong's influence was already a source of embarrassment for him. However, Jinzin wasn't arrogant or ashamed of this. Tong was his sister, it was blood, inseparable. He didn't break the law, nor did he rely on Tong's influence to arbitrarily seize opportunities from others. He always adhered to moral and legal boundaries. He was willing to seize the preferential treatment he received due to Tong's influence, allowing him to forge ahead even further. Those who refused to take advantage of advantages would be considered foolish by outsiders. Jinzin had gained a wide range of contacts over the past 2 or 3 years, and his mental growth had greatly increased. He had a clear understanding of his current situation. Because of Tong's influence, he received recognition and guidance from his instructors earlier than his peers, joined major project teams sooner, and received dedicated guidance from his instructors and other leading experts, as well as Tong's insightful guidance. These opportunities are rare for others, and since he has them, he naturally cherishes them. Of course, Jinzin won't let this discourage him. All this preferential treatment is based on his dedicated study and the foundation he's laid. If he were truly hopeless, even if he tried to force his way forward, he wouldn't have received any. Otherwise, even if those experts offered guidance, it would be of no use. Jinzin has never been the type to overthink things or be afraid of others. Taking advantage of Tong's benefits is fine, but he's his sister. Taking advantage of this opportunity to enrich himself is the most important thing. A forger's strength is only as good as his own. His own hard work and dedication to achieving outstanding results are the true path. After seeing Jinzin off, Wu Tong stayed home for 2 more days to spend more time with her parents and her mother. She hadn't been home for a quarter, and although she would contact her family every now and then, it still wasn't as good as being there in person. With her current projects mostly completed and free for the time being, Wu Tong decided to spend more time with her family. Of course, even at home, after the New Year holidays, Wu Tong didn't completely abandon her responsibilities. Although the Kanglong J35 project had been declared completed under the STOVL program, that didn't mean she had completely let go of all her responsibilities. She continued to remotely monitor the data from the Kanglong J35's repeated flight tests and the subsequent production process. Once this part had been repeatedly tested and sufficient data was available, and stable production was in place, they would continue to develop the J35 conventional takeoff and landing version and the J35 carrier-based version. Of course, these were merely minor design adjustments based on having already overcome key challenges, and they weren't particularly difficult. They would just take time and a step-by-step approach. Wu Tong had already conducted comprehensive design discussions and optimizations with Lu Xiao, developing blueprints and creating a process flow plan. She no longer needed to continuously supervise the project. Although she wasn't at the Zizhao Research Institute, Wu Tong was well aware of what was going on there. If any issues arose, she could simply initiate a remote conference, without hindering their resolution. From the Kanglong J35's aerodynamic layout design to its engine development, Wu Tong had meticulously refined the design, simultaneously implementing it in deductive space and verifying its validity. This was backed by successful flight tests and repeated engine test runs. Furthermore, with Lu Xiao, engineer Zun, and Feng Yuanyang at the helm, while problems did arise, they were generally due to the R&D staff's lack of understanding of the instructions or operational issues. So far, no major issues had been encountered. On the 10th day of the first lunar month, Wu Tong officially returned to campus. At that time, Kyoto University hadn't officially reopened, and most faculty and students were still enjoying their winter break. However, the majority of Wu Tong's research team members were already in place. The security personnel even rotated their shifts, maintaining a constant presence at the institute. Boss Wu. Happy New Year, Boss Wu. Happy New Year. From the moment Wu Tong entered, greetings were pouring in. Boss Wu was finally back, their key figure finally in place. While they could still carry out their research with or without Wu Tong, their morale was undoubtedly more stable with him in charge. Happy New Year. Wu Tong had already prepared red envelopes for the start of work, a custom that had only become popular in recent years. Wu Tong had been free for the past 2 days and, thinking about coming to the institute, she remembered the idea. She withdrew cash, bought red envelopes, and packed them in, bringing them with her. Wenxu and Kei carried the envelopes for her, and she dispersed as she saw everyone, including the security personnel, offering them a New Year's greeting, wishing them good luck and a Happy New Year. She had already contacted Zhang Si from the security department to ensure the security personnel wouldn't be left with any chance of making a mistake. Compared to the prim security guards, the researchers starting on the second floor were filled with joyful cheers. Thank you, Mr. Wu, you're so kind and sweet. Thank you, Mr. Wu. I wish you a sweet New Year and a plethora of awards. Each and every one of these sweet words was practically intoxicating. They had never expected such a sudden and unexpected blessing today, and they were all overjoyed. Having joined Wu Tong's research institute, Wu Tong treated them well. Their starting salaries were comparable to those at the top of their level, plus they received housing allowances and even more substantial R&D incentives. None of them were short of money. At the very least, among researchers of their caliber, their incomes were definitely considerable. But was the red envelope Mr. Wu gave them just any red envelope? It had to be something other than that. It represented Mr. Wu's blessing, a gift of wealth, and perhaps also a sign that they were blessed with his blessings and talent, and that their R&D efforts would be even more successful this year. Never mind their feudal superstitions, who wouldn't want to get a piece of Mr. Wu's powers? Wu Tong didn't discriminate, giving everyone the same amount of 600 yuan, symbolizing good luck. Finally, there was a stack of red envelopes, which Wu Tong distributed directly to Kei and the other 3 who had always been by her side, responsible for her personal protection. Brother Kei, Brother Wang, Sister An, Sister Shan, this is for you. Please give the rest to those who are secretly protecting me. You've worked so hard following me everywhere. Officially, these 4 were the only ones responsible for protection, but Wu Tong had always known that whether she was traveling or conducting regular research at school, there were many others who were responsible for her careful protection. Since it was a New Year's greeting, Wu Tong naturally wouldn't ignore this important group of people. Chapter 370 New Thoughts. After distributing New Year's red envelopes to all members of the institute, Wu Tong carefully reviewed the recent research progress of each department. She meticulously analyzed and provided guidance on each of their accumulated issues. She cultivated her own research team, patiently answering any questions from motivated team members. The excellent mentors she met had a positive influence on her. Incidentally, Wu Tong reviewed the Institute's current operations after her months away. 3 to 5 promising material development proposals had been developed. The lithium battery data collection and repeated experiments she had previously instructed were all completed, and the entire team had compiled a comprehensive list of existing data and detailed experimental data. Tao Ran and Ruan Changso had also conducted exploratory experiments in new possible directions. While these attempts were largely unsuccessful, most failed in the initial stages, and the remaining ones didn't make much progress. However, for scientific research, this is a normal occurrence, unavoidable but undesirable. On the other hand, it also presents a different kind of setback. It can't be said to be a complete failure, but rather that they are still on the road to success. The experience of failure could also help Wu Tong avoid procrastination, perhaps accelerating her path to success. This project, from the moment she first conceived it, has been almost a year in the making. However, throughout this year, one project followed another, constantly sidelining this one, and Wu Tong hasn't quite found the time to fully dedicate herself to it. Even now, Wu Tong feels she might have to put this project on hold for now, instead of making it her first research and development project after the new year. Sitting at her desk on the 5th floor, Wu Tong sorted out her plans for the new year, follow-up on the J-35's conventional takeoff and landing and carrier-based configurations, arrangements for academic affairs for the new semester, and optimization of several promising projects within the Institute. She still has a long list of projects and topics to tackle. During the Lunar New Year holidays, she felt a sense of relief, a somewhat false sense of security. Moreover, after watching the Kanglong J-35 and H-20 test flights, Wu Tong had a new idea: to continue optimizing air-to-air missiles and increase their beyond visual range long-range strike capabilities. This essentially meant she had taken on another unfinished project. 300 kilometers, in terms of combat performance, at top speed, a fighter of the J-20's capabilities would reach the target in just a few minutes. Internationally, there are many missiles capable of achieving this strike capability. 300 kilometers is far from enough, so what about 800 kilometers? Even the best fighters would need to perform well, and the range would be doubled. Achieving such a powerful range with air-to-air missiles requires optimization, which isn't something that can be achieved overnight. Wu Tong will need time and effort to master this task, and she even wants to expand on this project by upgrading the DF series of missiles. Continuous improvements in air-to-air missiles alone aren't enough. The power of land-based intercontinental cruise missiles must also keep pace. The PL-15's positioning is clear. Its primary target is highly maneuverable fighters. The addition of long-range air-to-air missiles can supplement its focus on striking large, high-value aerial targets like enemy early warning aircraft, tankers, and bombers. Wu Tong is focusing on developing a new air-to-air missile, focusing on the PL-17. She's working on a more advanced generation, and if Huazhuang makes progress, she can leave the 16 model to Huazhuang. Advanced active radar guidance seekers, advanced infrared sensors with strong anti-interference capabilities, and a smaller size and weight are all key considerations for a new air-to-air missile. Otherwise, its size and weight would be too large to be mounted on the powerful J-20 and J-35, and relying solely on the H-20 would be a waste of powerful air control research and development. Her goal remains to increase the range and strike radius, enabling ammunition to fit into the internal magazines of the J-20 and J-35 stealth fighters, thus guaranteeing their global dominance. As the saying goes, every inch longer, every inch stronger. The longer a beyond visual range air-to-air missile can reach, the greater the advantage it can gain in preemptive air combat. However, this is limited by the fighter's size, which limits its payload capacity, while also balancing the missile's maneuverability. If the PL-17, a compact, ultra-long-range air-to-air missile, could be developed, it would become a highly potent threat to any aerial target. Its extended range allows it to be launched beyond visual range, providing better protection against aircraft like fighters and bombers. Its ultra-long-range strike capability would also provide a greater threat to enemy aircraft at greater distances, significantly limiting its maneuverability in combat. This would make combat more predictable, as the enemy could no longer avoid engagements. The PL-21 is a powerful air-to-air missile, and its emergence has a significant impact on China's airstrike capabilities. With a plan in hand, Wu Tong's pen couldn't stop deducing, starting to deduce the prerequisites for the PL-17's success based on a new foundation. Having led an entire missile development project, Wu Tong was acquainted with the entire missile development sector, a field she considered a strong reserve. What technologies could enhance beyond visual range strike capability? What could enhance the new air-to-air missile, the PL-17? Wu Tong's mind flooded with information again, and after more complex elimination and screening, she recorded some of her inspirations. A hypersonic glide warhead and inertial guidance technology might be able to shoot down any maneuverable aircraft. Wu Tong hoped more than anyone else that China's aerospace sector would have such a powerful guardian, firmly quelling those with evil intentions. In ultra-long-range strikes, whoever has the longer range would have the ability to take the lead and suppress them. Wu Tong remembered the most important missile specifications clearly: accuracy, range, and power. Missiles with high accuracy can significantly reduce combat costs and improve the efficiency of single combat operations. The greater the range, the farther away the enemy can be from, preempting the enemy and reducing losses. Beyond visual range missiles, in particular, can kill from thousands of miles away, leaving the enemy unaware of the deed until their death. Whoever has the longest range will have priority. A powerful warhead can create a large killing radius. Whether a missile can achieve its combat objective ultimately depends on the warhead, which is equivalent to the finishing kick in football. This is one of the most important aspects. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 318 Clarity. The three missile specifications are closely interdependent and constrained. Missile design is a systematic project requiring the coordinated consideration of various indicators. Generally, increasing range leads to decreased accuracy. A more powerful warhead requires less accuracy. Increasing range requires more fuel, which in turn compresses the warhead, reducing its power. Wu Tong's innovative system for miniaturized air-to-air missiles stems from her innovations in fuel and engine efficiency, achieving an ultimate breakthrough within limited constraints. With more efficient fuel and engines, increasing range is no longer necessary to increase fuel. Furthermore, thanks to Lu Xiao's innovative guidance system, the PL-15's precision targeting capability has been further enhanced. Coupled with the new high-energy ammunition, a smaller warhead doesn't necessarily reduce its power. However, this design was based on the knowledge Wu Tong possessed at the time. A year later, Wu Tong felt she had the experience to further enhance her design and could consider adding a new weapon to her arsenal. Technology is constantly evolving. The PL-15 is currently in service, and 2 new killer features could be added to its arsenal. To determine her direction, Wu Tong began gathering data, particularly on intercontinental cruise missiles. While she wasn't a complete novice in this area, she certainly couldn't compete with the scholars who had been researching it for years. She felt she needed more learning if she wanted to build upon her existing expertise. The missile family encompasses not only air-to-air and cruise missiles, but also ballistic missiles. Modern missiles, alongside artillery, are the primary weapon. From individual air defense missiles to anti-tank missiles, to gun-launched missiles, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, air-to-air missiles for fighter jets, and anti-ship missiles for ships. While missiles are incredibly diverse, they can generally be categorized into 2 main types: cruise missiles and ballistic missiles. The Dongfeng series she was considering was a family of ballistic missiles. However, researchers were also attempting to combine the advantages of cruise missiles, suggesting a promising approach. Wu Tong was considering exploring and optimizing this approach from this perspective. Further knowledge on cruise missiles and ballistic missiles was essential for Wu Tong's development. Cruise missiles are missiles that rely on the thrust of a jet engine and the aerodynamic lift of their wings to cruise through the atmosphere. They can be launched from the ground, air, surface, or underwater to attack fixed or moving targets. They can serve as both tactical and strategic weapons. Based on operational use, they are categorized as strategic cruise missiles and tactical cruise missiles. Based on their carriers, they are categorized as vehicle-mounted cruise missiles, aircraft-mounted cruise missiles, and ship or submarine-mounted cruise missiles. These all fall under the category of cruise missiles. Ballistic missiles, on the other hand, are missiles that fly according to a predetermined program, powered by a rocket engine, and then follow a free-falling trajectory after shutdown. Its flight trajectory is generally divided into active and passive phases. The active phase, also known as the powered or boosted phase, is the missile's flight path from takeoff at the launch point to when the rocket engine shuts down, driven by the thrust of the rocket engine and guidance system. The passive phase, comprising the free flight phase and the re-entry phase, is the missile's path as it coasts at the given speed and trajectory angle achieved at the end of the active phase until the warhead detonates. Intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, typically with a range exceeding 8,000 kilometers, offer longer range, greater speed, and greater strike power, but also require more complex preparation. They represent a vital reserve force, and China already possesses this capability, laying the foundation for its strategic rise as a powerful nation. Wu Tong believes that the breakthrough lies in the Jin-style trajectory. This new ballistic concept, the boost glide trajectory, combines the trajectories of ballistic and cruise missiles, giving them the penetration capabilities of ballistic missiles and the flexibility of cruise missiles. This breakthrough in existing technology allows the missile's power to reach its maximum capability. However, there are still many difficulties that restrict scientific researchers, which need to be overcome one by one. Wu Tong is always patient. She does not want to make a breakthrough immediately by eating a fat paper in one go. She has made sufficient preparations. Breakthroughs are just natural things. Being too impatient will not help. Wu Tong likes to roughly list the design goals she wants before doing specific research. Only by knowing clearly what her desired goal is can she further determine the direction of the path to the goal. If there is not even a clear goal, the problem will only exist forever and will never be achieved. Just like in life, you must always know what you want. If you pursue it correctly, you will not go astray. The range must reach 2,000 kilometers, it must be able to achieve hypersonic speed, solid fuel propulsion, and it must be able to break through the current advanced anti-missile system. Wu Tong listed the goals she wants to break through one by one. Upon learning Wu Tong had returned to campus, Pan Wenho called him. "You finally have some free time, why don't you take a few days off? There's no rush to return after the Lantern Festival, come over to the Institute and sort out your upcoming work schedule." Wu Tong put down his pen and answered earnestly. Research and learning had become an inseparable part of Wu Tong's life, as natural as eating and drinking, never a burden to him. After New Year's Day, the higher-ups transferred the New Year's funds to the Institute's account, leaving them for Wu Tong to use for research and development. New Year, new beginnings. The university would like to ask for your opinion. Logically, since you've won the Wolf Prize in Mathematics, the university should arrange a celebration and award ceremony for you. What are your plans? Pan Wenhua, thinking back to the call he had just received from the university, asked Wu Tong earnestly. Whatever the university's plans, they would not compromise Wu Tong's wishes. They would respect Wu Tong's decision. Given Wu Tong's current academic status, the university would take no small matter lightly. They'd rather be prepared than remain silent. Otherwise, they'd become the focus of widespread criticism. The school doesn't live up to its reputation. Most importantly, they can't neglect a top talent like Wu Tong. So many people are watching Jingda, waiting for it to make a mistake. They'll surely flock to apply to Wu Tong. Wu Tong's Jingda alumni and his choice to stay there have left so many people secretly frustrated that they're almost ready to bite the university in the face, filled with envy and hatred. Chapter 319 confirmed. On the day the news was announced, Kyoto University's official blog and website posted a celebratory announcement, joyfully announcing that the Wolf Prize in Mathematics had been awarded to Kyoto University, and that the winner was Professor Wu Tong, the pride of Kyoto University. The holiday period didn't slow things down for a moment, and updates were delivered immediately, a testament to Kyoto University's speed. At all times, Kyoto University stood in solidarity with Wu Tong, a talented student they had nurtured. Even though Wu Tong's achievements were achieved through Kyoto University's platform, the university itself didn't provide much support. It was more due to her exceptional talent, who consistently produced one achievement after another, bringing honor to the university. Even now, Wu Tong's academic achievements are world-class, and no one can underestimate her abilities. Many more awards are in the future. No matter how much envy may arise, Wu Tong belongs to Kyoto University, and her honor is also the glory of Kyoto University. Peking University's greatest pride is recruiting Wu Tong before he officially rose to prominence, and giving him the opportunity to study on campus early. This laid the foundation for Wu Tong's rise, and Peking University is truly honored and humbled to have provided even a small helping hand along the way. Wu Tong's contributions to the university now far surpass their initial modest contributions by a significant margin. The university's leadership naturally couldn't ignore Professor Wu's recognition of such a prestigious international award. However, it was the Lunar New Year holiday, so only the School of Mathematics offered congratulations. Upon learning of Wu Tong's admission, they immediately asked Dean Pan to inquire about his plans. The university's senior leadership meeting in a few days will discuss further arrangements for Wu Tong's rewards. Dean Pan, hasn't the school already held a celebration? As she entered the campus, banners and electronic screens were still blaring with cheers. That's enough. No need for a ceremony. You know, I don't like noise, and there's no need for such fuss. Wu Tong was pragmatic. She wasn't particularly keen on ceremonies. The prize money for 2 major breakthroughs last year had already been included in her annual salary, deposited before the new year, so there was no need for formalities. With this time, Wu Tong preferred to quietly pursue her research in her office. Yes, I understand, Pan Wenhua nodded. The school's consultation was merely a thoughtful gesture, not a requirement for Wu Tong to hold a ceremony. If Wu Tong didn't like it, she could just skip it. As for accepting the award, I'd still have to ask Professor Lee or someone in our department who's free to go and collect it on my behalf. My project isn't finished yet, so I can't go abroad at the moment. Wu Tong was grateful that the organizing committee would present her with the award, but she wouldn't accept it in person. It was a consensus that Wu Tong wouldn't attend any ceremony for awards abroad. Okay, it's fine if I don't go. It's a mess out there. We're still more comfortable back home. Having someone go abroad to accept an award on Wu Tong's behalf, such a prestigious opportunity to brush up on his credentials, wasn't something anyone would refuse. Xiao Li was truly blessed, practically becoming Wu Tong's spokesperson for the award. Let Xiao Li go. And let Xiao Su accompany him this time. It was no use having 2 heads for one task. They were all part of Wu Tong's research institute. For this grand prize, let's send these 2. They could form a dedicated team to represent Wu Tong in future awards, specifically traveling abroad to accept awards on her behalf. Everyone, both domestically and internationally, understood that the Wolf Prize in Mathematics was just the beginning of Wu Tong's journey, not the end. Okay, thanks to Teacher Li for making another trip, and senior brother Su, Wu Tong planned to personally ask the 2 later to express her gratitude. They're all very happy. Also, Wu Tong, do you want to take on students? This was a key concern for the outside world. If Wu Tong was interested, they could help her keep an eye out for promising students. After last year's postgraduate entrance exam, there were a truly remarkable number of high-caliber graduate students applying to Peking University, perhaps the highest number of applicants in recent years. They had helped Wu Tong identify several promising candidates. However, at the time, Wu Tong was facing a critical juncture, and subsequently, he was involved in a confidential research project. Compared to those heavy responsibilities, accepting students or not was a minor matter, and there was no need to bother Wu Tong. They hadn't yet announced the matter publicly, but they had already been keeping an eye on Wu Tong. They had already agreed that if Wu Tong didn't have time, the promising candidates wouldn't be left unattended. Academician Jian was expected to take 1 or 2, Wenping 2, and he would also take 1 or 2, ensuring they weren't left without a second thought. Their academic prowess didn't necessarily mean these students were underappreciated. If there are suitable candidates, I can take 2 with me first, Wu Tong pondered for a moment. If I have time, I'll interview them in person. I remember the preliminary graduate entrance exam results will be out this month, right? Yes, they'll be out soon. We've already seen them. I'll send you some information later. Take a look when you have time. You can choose the right one and meet them in person. Students choosing advisors, advisors choosing students, are essentially a 2-way process. However, in Wu Tong's case, only she gets to choose the students, not the students. Whenever Wu Tong announces an enrollment, the school's email inbox is immediately flooded with eager students from home and abroad. The appeal of top scholars is truly formidable. This year's batch of students represents the best and brightest of the class. Even when Wu Tong wasn't there, the news of the confirmed enrollment was released, and everyone still took the plunge. Those who were accepted were all excellent, and it was clear who they were chasing. Okay, Dean Pan, You'll make the arrangements, Wu Tong nodded in confirmation. With his first batch of students, Wu Tong's heart was filled with anticipation. The school did not force her to take students or not, but Wu Tong felt that since she received a good annual salary from the school, she naturally had to do practical things for the school. She really couldn't make time for ordinary teaching tasks at the moment. Therefore, Wu Tong did not plan to take too many students at first, and could only make preliminary teaching attempts. After she made her selection, the candidate had to be screened by the security department. And it would take a while to decide. Wu Tong is not very busy now, but she can't guarantee that she will be free in the future. If I don't have time to participate, I will entrust the candidates to them first, Wu Tong arranged carefully and explained everything properly. If she is really involved in important research and cannot be interrupted, then let the teachers help her determine 2 candidates, and then ask the security department to confirm that there is no problem, and then replace them in the research institute first. Chapter 320 Guidance. Okay, Xiao and I will keep an eye out for you. Let me know when you're available soon, and we'll help you arrange the interview. Even if they found a suitable candidate, they still needed Wu Tong's personal approval. Only with mutual agreement could they live up to Wu Tong's trust. Since Wu Tong was short on time, they would take care of the minor details for him. Thank you, Dean Pan, for your time. I trust you and Teacher Zhou's judgment. Wu Tong didn't have much experience in teaching and selecting students. While preparing for the interview, she would discuss with the 2 professors about tips and experiences in mentoring students. She also made it clear to the students that she might not be able to provide detailed, one-on-one instruction. She could be busy with her own research projects, so they would likely need to overcome any problems on their own. They would need to accumulate knowledge about their studies, so she could provide detailed explanations when she had time. However, she couldn't be relied upon to constantly monitor their progress. Everything would still depend on them. Wu Tong planned to make all of this clear to the students during the admissions process, allowing them to consider carefully before applying to her graduate program. While she had some academic achievements, that didn't necessarily mean she would be a good advisor. Therefore, choosing her as an advisor involved some potential risks that needed to be carefully considered. Wu Tong explained these details to Dean Pan, asking him to explain them to the students who were considering applying for her graduate program and considering her as their advisor. Once they were certain they were comfortable with this model, they would interview her graduate students. Wu Tong believed that one should be diligent and responsible in both matters and people. Failure to make this clear up front was irresponsible, or worse, deceptive. She didn't feel the need to tarnish her reputation. She wasn't one of those black sheep who was looking for free labor. In the limited time available for recruiting students, Wu Tong would do her best to teach them diligently. She had met excellent and kind teachers, and she was grateful for their continued support and guidance. She wanted to carry on this fine tradition. Choosing good students required careful guidance and not delaying them. Don't worry, Wu Tong. No matter who you choose as your advisor, at the graduate level, it's all about their own initiative. They're self-directed learners, so they don't need manual instruction, Pan Wenho couldn't help but explain with a smile when Wu Tong seemed unfamiliar. College is already significantly different from middle school and high school. Teachers no longer provide hands-on instruction, relying more on the student's initiative. At graduate school and above, this same initiative is also prioritized. Everything depends on the students themselves, without a mentor providing hands-on instruction. This is Wu Tong's first time recruiting students, so he lacks much experience. As he's been guiding students for a while, he'll realize that there aren't so many concerns. For example, the vast majority of new students they admit are now entrusted to their doctoral students for supervision and guidance. Of course, this doesn't mean they don't care about anything. It simply means that if they have some simple questions, they don't need to report them. Their doctoral students are more than capable of solving them. If they have truly difficult problems, they can turn to them for help, saving them time and ensuring precise instruction. Although Wu Tong was only recruiting students for the first time, with both master's and doctoral students admitted, the team would be quickly established. Furthermore, with Xiao Li and Xiao Su overseeing Wu Tong's research, Wu Tong didn't need to worry too much about the students' guidance. Those who applied to Wu Tong's program were well aware of this. Wu Tong, currently at the peak of her academic career, certainly had limited time available. However, Wu Tong underestimated her own influence. Not only did she provide guidance and problem solving, Even if she was only a figurehead, she still had a steady stream of students flocking to her. Future students of the Fields Medal, the Wolf Prize in Mathematics, and the prover of the Navier-Stokes equations would all be honored if they could be named after Wu Tong. Therefore, even if Wu Tong was merely a figurehead, countless students would be eager to apply. After confirming Wu Tong's wishes, Pan Wenho hung up the phone and immediately discussed arrangements with Professor Zhou Wenping. Although this typically involves contacting the advisor after the preliminary exam results are released, the instructors are typically contacted. After being offered admission by a university, graduate students can make a preliminary selection of their preferred advisor based on factors such as their research interests, their re-examination scores, and their advisor's performance. During the advisor selection process, graduate students need to understand the advisor's research areas, academic level, and the advisor's guidance arrangements and plans for the graduate student, so they can make an accurate and appropriate choice. Many may have already finalized their advisor before the re-examination list is released. Both good students and good advisors are equally sought after. Any advisor seeking to recruit a student hopes that their student will be exceptional. Of course, this is a two-way street. Every student hopes to be valued by a more qualified faculty, thereby leaping into prestigious universities. Choosing a good advisor is crucial during the graduate program. A good advisor represents excellent teaching and research resources. This is especially true at this stage, especially if research is a priority. A graduate student's research skills are developed under the guidance of their advisor. If the advisor's research capabilities are limited, leaving the student to explore entirely on their own, achieving significant success in a particular area will be difficult. Therefore, before applying, it's important to learn as much as possible about the advisor's research projects and funding. These are all things Wu Tong possesses in abundance. Her mathematical expertise is world-class, unparalleled, and arguably unmatched in China. Wu Tong's scientific prowess, and the immense mathematical challenges she has overcome, are her greatest testament. As for Wu Tong's research resources, there's no need to worry. The Independent Research Institute provides ample annual research funding. In fact, if nothing unexpected happens, in March or April, students confirmed to study under Wu Tong will receive a higher title, Fellow Academician. This honor is arguably the highest in China. Dean Pan and Zhou Wenping have no doubts about Wu Tong's selection. Wu Tong's contributions are evident, and their recognized talent regardless of age. As for those who deliberately deny his opinions, as long as they remain at the University of Beijing, they will not tolerate it. Some people are bullying the University of Beijing. If they deny a child's ability, it's their own fault. However, Wu Tong has made such a huge contribution, but he can still lie with his eyes open. They at Peking University will definitely let those people see how capable the Horse King is. Chapter 321 National Award. The awarding of the national awards came even earlier than the graduate interview. Not long after she hung up the phone with Dean Pan, Wu Tong's hotline rang again. This made her raise her eyebrows when she put down her pen to answer the phone. They were in a hurry to find her today, so she was destined not to be able to start her research today. However, Wu Tong was not impatient at all. Her hotline would not be ringing by those messy advertising sales calls. It was normal for it not to ring once in 10 or 20 days. However, the calls that came were all about business. Minister Chu, Happy New Year. After seeing who was calling, Wu Tong picked up the phone and greeted with a smile. In fact, they had already called each other to greet each other during the Spring Festival, and the holiday gifts were all arranged by Minister Chu to be sent to their homes. However, at the beginning of the new year, greetings are never too much, and the more gifts, the less blame. Happy New Year, Mr. Wu. Chu Henggin's smiling voice was full of joy. I heard you're starting work today. You can take a longer vacation and don't push yourself too hard. Looking at Wu Tong's achievements over the past 2 years, each one would represent the culmination of years or even a lifetime of hard work. Few scholars would manage their time so intensively, engaging in so much research and delivering such monumental results in such a short period of time. Your health is the most important thing. The country isn't in a hurry. Last year, with the exception of a few days of recuperation, President Wu was completely busy. Even during that time, President Wu only relaxed for a few days before immediately diving back into solving the Navier-Stokes equations, ultimately producing the world-shaking proof of the Navier-Stokes equations. It's okay, Minister Chu. Research itself is a joyful exploration for me, Wu Tong laughed. As a freshman, She knew everything she needed to know. You still need to take some time off. The National Science and Technology Awards Conference will be held in the Great Hall on the 6th. Please take the time to attend. National Science and Technology Awards Conference? Wu Tong was surprised. It was only now? She'd thought it had already been held. The J35 project team had been isolated for some time, so she hadn't paid attention to this matter, simply assuming that her information was delayed. Yes, this year's conference has been slightly delayed. It will officially begin on the 6th, Minister Chu said in a steady voice. The recipients of the most important awards were still busy working on key scientific research advancements for the country. Naturally, the higher-ups wouldn't allow these meritorious individuals to be absent simply for the sake of presenting an award. Honor is the most sincere gift the nation can bestow upon researchers who have made significant contributions to the nation. It's my honor, Minister Chu. I will definitely be there on time on the 6th, Wu Tong agreed without hesitation. Such a grand event was something she couldn't miss. See you at the conference on the 6th. After hanging up the phone, Wu Tong was a little stunned. China has established 5 National Science and Technology Awards, the National Highest Science and Technology Award, the National Natural Science Award, the National Technological Invention Award, the National Science and Technology Progress Award, and the International Science and Technology Cooperation Award. The award ceremony will present certificates and prizes to the winners. The highest awards, the Natural Science and Scientific Progress Awards, and the Scientific Invention Awards are all among the most anticipated. The Supreme Science and Technology Award, with a prize of 5 million RMB and awarded to no more than 2 recipients each year, is the highest honor in China's scientific and technological community, essentially a lifetime achievement award. Wu Tong had briefly considered whether she could win an award at the conference on the 6th, but she simply ignored the highest award. Recipients of these awards have all made significant contributions to the country. There's Professor Yuan, a pioneer and leader in hybrid rice research, who made outstanding contributions to my country's grain production and agricultural science. Professor Wang, who made outstanding contributions to the development of strategic, ground-to-ground tactical, and launch vehicle rockets, particularly to manned spaceflight, and Professor Wu, who established key theoretical and technical systems for liver surgery, pioneered new areas of basic and clinical research in liver cancer, established the world's largest liver disease research and treatment center, and trained a large number of high-level professionals. Each of these individuals is a groundbreaking and renowned leader. Wu Tong wouldn't underestimate herself, but neither would she be arrogant enough to think she was on par with these giants. The Science Invention Award rewards scientific inventions, while the Science and Technology Progress Award covers all sectors of the national economy, making it a broadly inclusive science and technology award. The projects completed by the candidates and their organizations encompass new product and technology development, the promotion and application of new technologies, the industrialization of high-tech, enterprise technological transformation and advancement, technological foundations and major engineering construction, the introduction, digestion, and absorption of new technologies from abroad in the development of major equipment, or the independent development of innovative technologies. The International Science and Technology Cooperation Award, on the other hand, is a non-issue. This award is given to foreign scientists, engineers, and technology managers who have made significant contributions to China's science and technology through bilateral or multilateral international scientific and technological cooperation. Wu Tong has no experience in such collaborations. In Wu Tong's opinion, some of these 3 awards have little relevance to her. She feels that while she has made some contributions in materials science, most of them are simply improvements based on previous work, not unique inventions. Therefore, Wu Tong felt that if she truly had a chance to win an award, it would likely be the National Natural Science Award. Her proof of the Goldbach conjecture and the NS equations should give her a good chance of being considered for the award. However, according to international practice, the proof of such a major achievement takes at least 2 to 3 years, and possibly as much as 10 years, to be truly recognized worldwide. Although her academic conference had garnered recognition from scientists worldwide, with the International Union of Mathematicians declaring it a theorem, its true impact still needed time to develop. After all, she was still young, so she wasn't too anxious about winning an award. Therefore, after a rough analysis, Wu Tong concluded that she would most likely be an ordinary attendee. However, Being able to participate in such a conference was already a great achievement. Wu Tong didn't set high expectations, maintaining a calm mind as she continued her research. In the 4 or 5 days before the meeting on the 6th, Wu Tong systematically reviewed and thoroughly studied the entire field of cruise missiles and ballistic missiles. She vaguely sensed a direction forward. While still unclear, there were signs of a bright future. On the 6th, with the arrival of the traditional Lantern Festival, the National Science and Technology Awards Conference kicked off, and the award ceremony venue, the Great Hall, was fully prepared to receive the guests. Chapter 322 Grand Occasion. On the morning of the 6th, Wu Tong, as usual, rose early. After her usual morning exercises on the balcony, she came out to have breakfast with her parents, who were home on their day off. There was no family tradition of not talking while eating or sleeping. Over breakfast, Jin Yu and Wu Jingzhong chatted about their daily lives and the plans for the holiday celebrations downstairs that evening. It's a beautiful day today. Let's take the quilts out to dry in the sun. On winter days, when the sun came out, Jin Yu loved to diligently dry the quilts, a habit she hadn't changed even after arriving in Shangjing. Back home, she'd have to go upstairs and carry them to the rooftop drying line. Now, with her large balcony, there was no shortage of space for drying. The warmth of the quilt, bathed in the warmth and scent of the sun, made for a sound night's sleep. I'll help you with that later. Setting up the drying rack and carrying the quilts, Wu Jingzhong prepared to lend a hand to his wife. The home was well heated, and while the quilts weren't thick, they were light and soft, but the generous size of the quilts at home made it more convenient for multiple people. Since he's home on weekends and has nothing to do, he might as well do more thoughtful work, the essence of a couple's growing love. No lover appreciates a thoughtful husband. My younger brother suggested that we celebrate New Year's Eve at our house, and we go to their place on the 15th. This had already been discussed in advance. Jin Yu was just repeating the reminder. Tong, are you still going to school this Saturday? Do you have anything important to do tonight? If not, come back early to celebrate the Lantern Festival. On the 15th day of the first lunar month, the Lantern Festival, Zixin was thousands of miles away and couldn't make it back. Tong's early arrival to spend time with the elders was a welcome relief. I'm not going to school today. I've been invited to a meeting at the Great Hall. I'll try to get back early this afternoon. She estimated the meeting time and thought it should be finished in the morning. After chatting with the teachers and seniors, she should be home by 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Wu Tong put down her dishes and prepared to wait for her parents to finish eating. She helped clean up and bring it to the kitchen before returning to her room to change into formal attire. The conference hall opened at 9 and officially began at 10, leaving plenty of time. Attending a conference in the Great Hall, Jin Yu and Wu Jingzhong were stunned. Their daughter's participation in the Great Hall wasn't the main point of their surprise. After all, Wu Tong had already held 2 academic conferences there. However, that didn't mean any conference could be held there. Any conference that could be held there was truly extraordinary. They usually held meetings in their workplace conference rooms, but Tong was invited to attend a conference at the Great Hall. Such a venue, and the feeling of such a meeting, filled Wu Jingzhong and Jin Yu with natural pride. The Great Hall. They had no idea what kind of conference it was. Having been invited twice in their lifetime thanks to Tong's significant achievements, they were already quite content. The National Science and Technology Awards Conference, Minister Chu invited me on the 10th, unsure of her eligibility. Wu Tong had been deeply immersed in her studies and hadn't mentioned it to her family. However, it wasn't something that needed to be kept secret, and seeing her parents' curiosity, Wu Tong spoke frankly. Oh. I remember now, there is such a thing. I think I heard a colleague mention it. Wu Jingzhong suddenly remembered that he had heard something he had not taken seriously before, that there would be another meeting in the Great Hall soon. But at that time, it was not the 2 sessions or something like that, so he did not pay much attention to it. Yes, today is mainly for the award ceremony. I guess it won't take too long. I will be back early. Seeing that her parents had finished breakfast, Wu Tong prepared to clean up the dishes. Her parents never let her do housework on weekdays, so Wu Tong only helped with these small things. Wu Tong had asked her family before about hiring a nanny, but her parents rejected it. Wu Jingzhong and Jin Yu felt that there was not much housework at home and their work was not particularly heavy. They could just help out and there was no need to have an outsider at home. Moreover, considering Wu Tong's safety, they firmly disagreed with hiring more people. Tong, We have something important to do. Go get busy with your own business. Your dad and I will clean up these few dishes." Upon hearing that they were going to the Great Hall for a meeting, Jin Yu hurriedly urged Wu Tong to prepare. Even if Tong wasn't going to receive an award, they were all excited and eager to see her attend the meeting. Neither of them was ignorant and understood that being able to participate in a meeting like this was already a great affirmation. Tong was still young, and it was already impressive that she had been invited to such a meeting. Well, Wu Tong knew that she couldn't outsmart her parents and had no room to intervene, so she didn't insist. She helplessly threw her hands to her parents and went back to her room to wash, dress, and change into formal clothes. At 8 o'clock, Wu Tong was ready and met upstairs with Kai Yan and Wenshu, who were already waiting. After saying hello to her parents, she went downstairs and got in the car. Yan'an was less than a 40-minute drive from the Great Hall, and the journey was smooth. Wu Tong arrived at the Great Hall at just 8:40. She had originally thought she wasn't too late, but as she passed through security and followed the concierge into the conference hall, she found it already packed, a truly spectacular spectacle. Wu Tong, this way, Dean Pan, Professor Chang, and several other prominent figures from Peking University who had been invited were already in line. Professor Chang spotted Wu Tong from a distance and greeted him with a smile. They had arrived earlier and hadn't seen Wu Tong, so they waited in a vacant area near the entrance, chatting, a chance to chat with old acquaintances who continued to arrive. Seeing Wu Tong enter, everyone's smiles widened. Anyone with a discerning eye knew that Wu Tong would be one of the absolute protagonists of today's meeting. The combined weight of the Goldbach conjecture and the NS proof was truly immense. Teacher, Dean Pan, Professor Zhou, Academician Don, Wu Tong addressed them one by one, greeting them one by one. When Wu Tong's gaze finally caught sight of the mature, steady, middle-aged man beside Elder Chang, she couldn't help but smile and call out again, "Big brother." It was Academician Zhang Xiaoming, the teacher's founding disciple. Addressing him Academician Zhang felt too unfamiliar, so Wu Tong simply addressed him as Big Brother. "I'm late." She felt truly embarrassed to have kept all the teachers waiting. She should have left earlier. Not late, we're early. Arriving before the meeting is never late. It's just that, usually for meetings like this, everyone arrives an hour or two early, taking advantage of this opportunity to connect with their peers across China. "We came early to chat with old friends, so you can just come as usual," Elder Cheng explained the reason for the current atmosphere. He knew Wu Tong wasn't particularly sociable, so he added a note of caution. With Wu Tong's current achievements, no one had the right to force her to do something she didn't like. Countless people in the room were eager to establish their friendship with her. Chapter 323 Expectations. "Wu Tong, do you remember me?" The elderly man, who had just been chatting with Professor Pan and Professor Zhou Wenping, asked Wu Tong with a smile. "Academician Shen, how could I have forgotten you? You were the one who announced the list for my emo training camp, and you led the team to the International Congress of Mathematicians." A year or two had flown by. Although they were both in Beijing, she had been largely idle for the past 2 years, and hadn't spoken to the president of the Chinese Mathematical Association. She had previously given 2 major academic conferences, and the elderly man had attended them, but due to health reasons, he didn't attend the subsequent celebration banquet hosted by the municipal government, so they didn't talk again. "Thank you for your outstanding contributions to the Chinese mathematical community," Academician Shen expressed his sincere gratitude. Thanks to Wu Tong, his successive breakthroughs, the Goldbach conjecture, the NS equation, and other significant achievements, had significantly elevated the status of Chinese mathematics. All of this was brought about by this young man before him. He had dedicated his life to Chinese mathematics, and had been able to witness its current success. How could he not be grateful? During the emo training camp, Wu Tong's proof of Zhou's conjecture had given him the idea that Chinese mathematics would dazzle the world. But he never imagined that this possibility would become reality so quickly. Wu Tong's achievements now command even greater global attention. "You're too kind. This is the result of everyone's combined efforts. I was just doing what was right." Wu Tong, as he spoke, another wave of people entered the entrance. Lu Xiao, Engineer Zun, and the others leading the group couldn't help but call out with a smile. The timing of their departure was perfect. As soon as they entered, they saw Mr. Wu. "Brother Lu, Engineer Zun, Professor Feng." Wu Tong turned around and looked at the newcomers, his smile widening. Brother Lu and the others had also arrived. Did everything go smoothly on the way? Wu Tong's question was a double entendre, expressing his concern for the project. He asked if there had been any problems over the past 2 days and how everything was going. It's going smoothly. Everything is going well, Engineer Zhan replied with a smile. With a successful preparation experience already established, what could possibly go wrong? President Pan, Lao Chang, Professor Zhou, Academician Zhang, they were all part of a large circle. Everyone knew each other, even collaborating on projects. They all knew each other, and couldn't help but greet each other warmly. Engineer Zhan, Professor Feng, President Lu, as the group exchanged pleasantries, the crowd gradually gathered, and President Pan and Lao Cheng led everyone to their seats. Wu Tong had already arrived, and the conference was about to begin, with a countdown already underway. As the professors and scholars participating in the conference took their seats, and leaders from all levels also gradually arrived, the once bustling venue gradually quieted down, reflecting the quality of the atmosphere. On the podium, a large red and white banner with the National Science and Technology Awards Conference was raised. Below, a vibrant red and gold curtain embraced the national emblem, and a solemn and awe-inspiring aura naturally spread. Looking upward, one's gaze unconsciously turned to solemnity and respect. As the loud singing began to sound from the speakers, the awards ceremony, which represented the highest level of honor in the Chinese academic community, finally kicked off amidst the eager anticipation of all the scientific researchers. In unison, after Wu Tong left, Wu Jingzhong and his wife quickly dried their bedding and hurried downstairs to ask Jin Yuan to turn on the TV and tune it to the national channel. I remember there would be news, right? Jin Yuan and Wu Jingzhong confirmed. It should be real-time news, but it might not be broadcast until the evening. However, as long as there was a slight possibility, they would pay attention to it first, on their phones and on TV, they would follow it simultaneously. What's the rush? Jin Yuan did as he was told, but he was still a little confused. Why did his elder sister ask him to turn on the TV as soon as he entered the door? I haven't heard that his elder sister has any hot TV series recently. Isn't it said that there is nothing good about TV series and programs nowadays, and they are getting worse and worse, so people just don't watch them anymore? Tong, it's Tong who's going to the Great Hall for the National Science and Technology Awards Conference. We wanted to see if the news will be broadcast live, Wu Jingzhong explained to his family with a smile. Although many people might think Tong wouldn't necessarily win an award today, they were prepared, just in case they could see her. Oh, Tong's going to the Great Hall again? Haha. My precious granddaughter is amazing. The TV's on, always on. You guys are so good at using your phones, and you've got all the data you need, so you're all watching and paying attention. Jin, turn on your computer at home too. Isn't the internet the fastest place to get news? Upon hearing his precious granddaughter was at the Great Hall for the conference, Jin Yoking couldn't help but beam with joy. He raised his voice and gave an urgent order. At the awards ceremony, maybe his Tong could win an award too. He'd carefully researched Tong's mathematical achievements, which were truly rare. He felt her chances of winning were quite good. They felt Tong was still young. First and second prizes were possible, and if Tong wasn't there, they should at least give her a third prize or an excellence award. They weren't greedy. Any prizes were great, but not winning was no big deal. For his precious granddaughter to hold an academic conference at the Great Hall, drawing tens of thousands of attendees, was already a truly remarkable and glorious feat. She far surpassed even the older generation and their parents. Sharing the same aspirations as the family were the members of the Peking University Interdisciplinary Research Institute. Mr. Wu should be there, right? Tao Ran confirmed with Ruan Chengsu, somewhat uncertainly. This was Mr. Wu's first National Science and Technology Awards conference, and they felt they were even more nervous than Mr. Wu himself. He should be here, it's almost starting. Mr. Wu should be able to win an award, right? They all felt that given the importance of the Getty conjecture and the NS equations, as well as Mr. Wu's achievements, he should be considered for first prize in the natural sciences. Although, they understood that the natural science awards tended to focus on theoretical fields, favoring physics over mathematics. In addition, the awarding unit is not an academic institution after all, and other factors must be considered in addition to academic achievements. However, if Mr. Wu's achievements cannot win the award, they really don't know who else can win the first prize in natural sciences. Everyone was looking forward to the situation on the scene with expectations. At 10 o'clock sharp, the venue was silent, and the annual Science and Technology Awards conference officially began. The spokesperson came on stage and spoke on behalf of the delegation. We attach great importance to science and technology, and respect and care for scientific and technological workers. Since the founding of New China, my country's science and technology has achieved remarkable achievements. The vast number of scientific and technological workers have worked hard, dedicated themselves, and climbed to the top, writing a glorious chapter. It is another year's Science and Technology Awards Conference, and we will. Chapter 324 First Class. At 10 o'clock sharp, viewers nationwide, tuned into the official broadcast channel, were honored to witness this grand event live. The speakers on stage delivered impassioned speeches, while those seated below were among the nation's top researchers, representing diverse fields of research. From engineering technology to basic natural sciences, encompassing every aspect, both well-known and unknown, those invited to sit here have made significant contributions and are truly exceptional researchers. At this moment, everyone remained solemn and attentive, listening intently to the speakers' speeches. The speakers passionately reminisced about the nation's scientific and technological development and envisioned the future of scientific research, a future that is becoming a reality through the tireless efforts of researchers. They thanked all the dedicated researchers nationwide. Soon, the day's main theme, the highly anticipated awards ceremony, arrived. As usual, the first award was the 2012 National Highest Science and Technology Award. Before the ceremony, the speakers announced the winners, and everyone held their breath in concentration. The recipients of the 2012 National Highest Science and Technology Award are academician Zheng Liaozhen, one of the founders and pioneers of explosion mechanics in China and one of the organizers and leaders of the development of the discipline of mechanics in China. He has long overseen the formulation of development plans for the discipline of mechanics, pioneered the establishment of several new subdisciplines of mechanics, and made significant academic contributions. And academician Wang Liaowang, a renowned Chinese radar expert and a pioneer and founder of the modern early warning aircraft industry, has been at the forefront of international radar technology since the 1960s. He oversaw the development of my country's first three-dimensional radar, reaching internationally advanced levels and establishing a new era for radar in my country. Each of these individuals, having built a foundation virtually from scratch, is a pioneer and founder of a specific field of scientific research in China. They are both well-deserved to receive such prestigious honors at such a young age and at such a time. As the list of winners and their biographies were announced, thunderous applause erupted throughout the venue. Amidst the applause, the two senior figures took the stage to be bestowed with this highest honor by the leadership, the ultimate accolade for their lifelong dedication to the nation. Everyone in the audience expressed their deepest respect for the two recipients. Following the awarding of the National Science and Technology Award, the Natural Science Award, currently the most closely watched award by domestic observers, emerged. Compared to the National Science and Technology Award, which symbolizes a lifetime honor, the Natural Science Award honors citizens who have made significant scientific discoveries, elucidating natural phenomena, characteristics, and laws, through basic research in fields such as mathematics, physics, chemistry, astronomy, earth sciences, and life sciences, as well as applied basic research in fields such as information, materials, and engineering. This award is more like a major achievement award. It recognizes the most outstanding contributions to basic and applied basic research in China during the year. The Natural Science Award is divided into two levels: first prize and second prize. The selection process is rigorous, ensuring no unqualified individuals are awarded. The National Natural Science Award first prize may remain vacant. As of this year, the first prize has gone vacant for 2 consecutive years, in 2010 and 2011. This year marks the third year, so will it remain vacant again? The previous recipient of this honor was the 2009 edition of the Flora of China, led by the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Going back 1 year, the previous achievement was in 2006. The rigorous selection process and the difficulty of obtaining the first prize in the National Natural Science Awards are easily apparent from the fact that they are often awarded only for 2 or 3 years, with awards not awarded for half of the 10-year period. This rigorous selection process and the difficulty of obtaining one further underscore the importance and prestige of this award. This past year saw 2 remarkable achievements in mathematics. While the National Natural Science Awards tend to favor applied fields, world-class achievements like the proof of the Goldbach conjecture and the NS equation warrant careful consideration. After the presentation of the National Highest Science and Technology Award, many eyes gathered around the Kyoto University area, their gaze fixed on the youngest present, yet also one of the most distinguished academics. Previously, Professors Hu, Wu, and Jin had all received this honor. The country had also recognized young people, such as Mr. Liu, seated in the Kyoto University area, a true legacy of Kyoto University. Now, the crucial moment of unveiling the mystery arrived. As the awards ceremony officially began, everyone's gazes blazed, almost scorching, at the speakers on stage. The hall once again fell into an exceptionally quiet atmosphere, nearly a pin drop audible, as everyone waited for the speaker to announce the winners. It seems everyone is impatient. Let me get straight to the point. First, we'll be presenting the 2012 National Natural Science First Prize. The spokesperson glanced at the audience, pausing briefly at the Kyoto University area before speaking. The spokesperson's first words set the tone. This year, there would be a National Natural Science First Prize winner. The Goldbach conjecture is the most shining jewel in the crown of number theory. Chinese ancestors have left a brilliant chapter in this field. At the turn of the millennium, we entered a new century. 7 millennium problems were revealed to the world. The Navier-Stokes equation emerged from nowhere. The Goldbach-Wu theorem, the existence and smoothness of the general solution to the Navier-Stokes equation, is a monument to the progress of human mathematics and a gift from the Chinese people to the world. When the audience heard about the Goldbach conjecture, most of them smiled in understanding, their eyes fixed on the exceptionally young scholar from the Peking University area. She was about to write a legend, the youngest recipient of the first prize of the National Natural Science Award in China. Let us congratulate Wu Tong, the sole recipient of this year's first prize of the National Natural Science Award. As the spokesperson's generous acceptance speech was announced, he smiled toward Peking University, paused briefly, and then, with a solemn voice, read out the name of a well-known figure in the conference hall. Everyone clapped their hands in unison once again. Thunderous applause echoing throughout the venue. They were honored to witness a miracle today. China cultivates talent regardless of background, and the scientific research community is moving towards rejuvenation. The proof of the Goldbach conjecture and the proof of the Navier-Stokes equation are both tremendous achievements of Chinese scientific research, monuments to Chinese mathematics, miracles written by Chinese people on the edifice of world mathematics. Wu Tong's name once again shone brightly in the Chinese scientific community. The excitement of the Kyoto University students was a testament to the university's good fortune to have been favored by this young legendary genius. His admission to Kyoto University and his employment there marked the beginning of a new era of glory for the university. Chapter 325 Encouragement. The spokesperson's voice announcing the winners still echoed in the ears of everyone in front of the television and in the conference hall. The Yunnan Jin family, Wu Jingzhong, Jin Yu, and Jin Yuqing, were simply staring at the television screen, their faces almost weeping with joy. Their Tong had won first prize in the National Natural Science Award, having been honored in the Great Hall. Jinzin smiled brightly, even with his big white teeth showing off his silly look, and raised his thumb high. His Tong, that was it, no doubt about it. Standing on that glorious podium was their Tong, his blood-related sister. All members of the Peking University Interdisciplinary Research Institute, watching the live news broadcast, were also caught up in a sea of cheers. Their General Wu had won first prize in the National Natural Science Award. Our God is glorious, our God is light, our God is the direction we will pursue throughout our lives. Inside the institute, exclamations of surprise echoed, and cohesion surged once again, thanks to their shared spiritual pillar. As the award ceremony continued, Wu Tong, formally dressed, stepped onto the podium under the watchful eyes of the crowd. A dignified elder presented her with a bright red certificate and shook hands with her with a gracious smile. Congratulations, Mr. Wu, I'm delighted to present you with this award personally. The nation will remember every contribution you've made. Thank you for your trust and support of the nation, the elder softly thanked him. Wu Tong's scientific achievements were truly worthy of the highest scientific and technological award. However, as the wind will surely tear down a tree that stands out in the forest, they couldn't afford to draw any dangerous attention to Wu Tong. For Wu Tong's safe development, after much discussion, They ultimately decided to award her the first prize of the National Natural Science Award, the easiest honor to bestow upon her. They would also make special arrangements for any subsequent awards that could be fulfilled as quickly and safely as possible, awarding Wu Tong the respect and rewards he deserved. Academicians and award winners are common, but scientific breakthroughs that can impact the world and the nation's progress are rare, and even fewer are widely recognized. Yet, all of this has helped this young scholar break the mold. To have such a top scholar, one who loves her country, is a great honor and a blessing for China. Thank you. I will keep up the good work. Standing on this podium, Wu Tong felt even more emotional than when she spoke at the International Congress of Mathematicians or before, when she delivered an academic presentation under the watchful eyes of the audience at the Great Hall. She had thought this year would be uneventful, but the country truly lived up to its word, selecting talent regardless of their background. They actually overstated her age and awarded her this, the highest honor in the nation's natural sciences. Wu Tong was overwhelmed, unable to remain calm. Her excitement overflowed from her words, and the sound of her heartbeat was as clear as a drum in her ears. The anticipation of being valued, encouraged, and entrusted with such a heavy responsibility filled her with a rare nervousness. Standing on the podium, the attention of everyone present, and the reception from the elderly man before her, she held her breath. First prize in the National Natural Science Award, many scholars and academicians in the audience sighed in unison. A young man, barely 10 years old, had already received such an honor. With such youth, such achievements, such accolades, and such recognition from the higher-ups, how could one not be envious? I'd love to trade my academician title with Mr. Wu just to feel the honor, Engineer Zhang grinned broadly, lowering his voice to Feng Yuanyang beside him. Honestly, he had done a lot of research throughout his life, but he hadn't yet achieved a national first prize. He had only ever received that honor through the Science and Technology Progress Award. They still had to work harder to see if they were worthy enough to touch the highest scientific award, a lifetime honor, in their old age. Who wouldn't want to? There were probably quite a few people present who thought so, but it was just a thought. The selection of the National Natural Science First Prize is extremely difficult. Those who can receive this honor must have achieved significant and admired achievements. Otherwise, the country would rather leave it vacant. Wasn't that the case the past 2 years? The higher-ups are quite bold, Feng Yuanyang nodded in agreement. But on closer inspection, considering only what they knew, Wu Tong, the J35 project manager, had achieved such a breakthrough, and it was normal for him to receive such an honor. Even if the next two awards, the National Science and Technology Progress Award and the National Science and Technology Invention Award, were given to Wu Tong, it wouldn't be excessive. Mr. Wu, you've pushed the bar for the youngest recipient to the limit. Engineer Zhang then turned to Lu Xiao and sighed. Well deserved. Lu Xiao looked intently at Wu Tong, the center of honor on the stage, and praised her sincerely. He had collaborated with Wu Tong many times, and each time, Wu Tong's excellence surpassed his expectations, making the impossible possible, turning record-breaking achievements into ordinary reality. Wu Tong's remarkable breakthroughs were enough to earn her major national awards, but the higher-ups wouldn't allow such a patronizing gesture. Their safety was paramount. Wu Tong's mathematical achievements were already impressive enough worldwide. If it were revealed that Wu Tong possessed equally exceptional talent in fields like materials science, engineering, missiles, and physics, and constantly contended with a threat of ruin, losing her freedom for the sake of safety, that was exactly the situation they and their superiors hated. As for Wu Tong's winning of the first prize in the National Natural Science Award, the jealousy some narrow-minded individuals in China might harbor is trivial and need not be taken seriously. Those who excel will be criticized by the public. However, when a person's abilities reach an absolute height, untouchable, like a single tree forming a forest, elusive, no one has the energy to compare. The most foolish truth is that comparison is impossible. Mr. Wu, I look forward to presenting you with this award again. The old man shook hands with Wu Tong, handed her the bright red certificate of honor, and offered another kind smile of encouragement. I will live up to your expectations, Wu Tong promised firmly. She felt like she was drinking nectar, her heart surging with excitement. Passion welled up, and a vow resonated within her. Upon her return, she would successfully develop both the PL-17 and the F-17, deterring any treacherous intruders, bolstering China's national prestige, and purging the world. This podium, This recognition gave Wu Tong boundless motivation to strive for progress. She loves her country and is willing to fight for it all her life. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.